Hello, you guys. Hello, Amanda. Welcome back to another episode of No More Kids in Scientology. And yes, we are talking about the parents of Scientology, as the title of this live states: enablers, handlers, and the masters of denial. We're not talking about the river. Talking about denial, Denial. Because today we're dissecting not just Rebecca Minkoff's strategic ignorance, but also the damning self-incriminating admissions from Danny Masterson's stepfather, Joe Reaiche. And let me tell you, it's bleak. It's exposing. It is the kind of thing that should make people sit up and ask, why are they still pretending that Scientology is some quirky self-help group? Starting with Rebecca yesterday, she went on the record and was gushing. We covered how she was gushing about how, quote, incredibly supportive Danny was to Rebecca. Like full-blown PR fluff about how wonderful he was. This man currently sitting in prison for violently, you know what, women, who also happen to be Scientologists and who were systemically silenced and betrayed by the very system that Rebecca continues to protect. Because that's what we're getting from Rebecca, you guys. Oh, Scientology is so great. I just go there when I'm having problems with communication. Exactly, Debbie. Rebecca is so delusional. And exactly that is the point that we're bringing up. Rebecca's delusions need to be popped. And as much as everybody projects that it's bad to pop people's delusions, we're pushing back on that. I think it's an act of kindness to pop these people's delusions. We're doing you a favor. We're showing you things that you cannot see about yourself. And yes, those things that we're showing you might not be stuff that you want to see because it's going to be extremely painful. We're not going to sugarcoat anything for anybody anymore. There's a reckoning that is long overdue. That reckoning is here. That reckoning is called No More Kids in Scientology because kids cannot consent. More simple than that cannot be put. More simple than that cannot be explained. It cannot be more distilled than those two sentences together. No more kids in Scientology because kids cannot consent. That's the delusion that we're here popping on Rebecca. Hello, SP Neverin. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. Because Rebecca wants us to focus on how great it was for her personally. The entitlement, the selfishness, the absolute refusal to acknowledge what these victims that got a conviction, a criminal conviction. So in case you have no access to Google, Rebecca, in case you have no access to ChatGPT, in case your PR team is also on a budget and has no access to the internet, criminal convictions were secured. But you still don't know anything? Are you sure? So Rebecca is the one that led us here to another Scientology parent that apparently had a lot to say. Had a lot to say. Mr. Joe Reaiche, former Scientologist, former Sea Org member, and the stepfather of Danny Masterson. Joe Reaiche. And Joe did a little interview. Sat down for an interview where he admitted in no uncertain terms that he participated in what Scientology calls handlings of his own kids. Now, I believe he's already passed away. But here's a Scientology parent admitting to what he was doing. Because he straight up confirmed the kind of systemic control and coercion that second, third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation Scientology's kids, like Rebecca, like Danny Masterson, like Danielle Keogh, Riley Danielle Keogh, like Alana Masterson, like Jordan Masterson, like every one of those kids that is growing up under coercion, under control, under these parents acting completely out of their mind. Joe openly talks about enforcing Scientology's oppressive structures on his own son, Jordan. The same structure that ultimately led Danny down the path that he took. And this is what we mean when we say no more kids in Scientology. These people were raised in an environment where abuse isn't just tolerated, it's institutionalized. Where parents are not parents. They are handlers. Where children do not have autonomy because the cult owns them from birth by proxy. They own the parent, they own the kids. That's how easy it is. That's how fast it was. That's how agreed upon it is inside of that hotel chain matrix of commercial buildings with hotels. So now we have Rebecca Minkoff, who's a mother raising children inside this very system, pretending she knows nothing about how it operates. Rebecca, who currently has, according to her, going on a whole media tour and telling everyone that she can possibly sit down with that she has a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old. That's when we were most vulnerable. That's when the most sickening part of the abuse took place. So for all the idiots that have no idea what's wrong, for all the stupid people that have no idea how to investigate, for all the people that have no capacity to confront evil, don't you worry about it. We're about to dumb it down. We're about to make it so clear. This is your clear package. What the F you're being told in these lives is Scientology's clear free packages. We're giving you the clear cognition for free. For free. Literally, you're going to become clear. As soon as you hear one of these lives, shit is going to be clear as fuck. You're not have to go to those hotels anymore. You're not going to have to beg. You're not going to have IRS transactions and tax donations that you know you're full of shit about. So for all of you that want to play dumb, oh, we really thought we were really donating. Oh, we really thought we were going to save a world. Please, please stop. Because here's the thing, Rebecca does know. She knows because she lived it. She knows because she grew up in it. And she knows because people like Reaiche, like her own family, were part of the same machine that has controlled every aspect of a Scientology child's life. Her own father was the safe pointed doctor to really take kids to. So how many mandated reports are coming from David Minkoff? That'll be great for some people to start really figuring it out. Since, yes, you guessed it, David Minkoff, Dr. David Minkoff is a mandated reporter. Becky's father is the doctor that the kids get sent to because he's been safe pointed, because he's a mandated reporter that, does he report, you guys? Figure it out. Figure it out. Figure out how many reports has this doctor ever written for any child that he's ever seen growing up in Scientology. How many? Where are the records? Where are the reports? Where is Dr. Minkoff, Rebecca's own father, writing a shred of report? What? Because he's never seen a child in Scientology? Ever? Just never seen anything suspicious? Ever? Are you sure? Somebody better find out. Somebody go get that information. Because yet again, she's here trying to play dumb. She's out here calling valid criticism drama. She's out here deflecting like this is some pretty little reality TV beef, instead of a deeply dangerous system harming real children right now. So today we're pulling receipts and we're breaking down these damning admissions from Joe Reaiche. And we're contextualizing why Rebecca Minkoff, me? What? Me? No. I'm great. I'm wonderful. It's working great for me. You have no idea the type of idyllic childhood I had for myself inside of the hotels. That's your words, Rebecca. Idyllic. How was your childhood, Rebecca? Idyllic. You went there. Because everything's a complete farce. And we're making it abundantly clear that as long as there's kids in Scientology, none of this is a joke. It's not gossip. It's not, quote, bad PR. It's a child rights, human rights issue. And we're not looking away. And all of you that are here right now, holding space for these conversations, learning the actual context, wanting to advocate for the kids, the more you understand what in the hell is going on, the more it'll become obvious just how much advocacy is really actually needed. Because apparently we haven't been clear. Apparently it's been very confusing. Apparently there's a lot of gossip that everybody has to go keep up with. Go check up with Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That's a full-blown reality TV where you can go keep up and weigh in on BS. This ain't that. So figure it out. Figure out what in the hell is being said. Figure out what messages are getting suppressed. Figure out who's suppressing what messages. Figure out who knows how much of what. And they're keeping their mouth shut. Start figuring out that part, because that's going to tell you more than all the mindless gossip that apparently really needs to be spoken about. Meanwhile, here's this kind of level of admissions where the Scientology parents, who are the who and the why, the ones that made this problem be. No child ended up inside of these hotels if it wasn't for their parents saying that's what they deserved, that's what they needed for themselves, and everything is great and everything is wonderful because we love it so much inside of the hotels ourselves as adults. We cannot stop writing wins. Literally, kid you not. That's what the adults in Scientology are saying. Oh no, we're winning so much at these hotels. You have no idea. Let me just show you my file full of wins, full of success stories. The kids are having no wins by being abused. So if anyone is too stupid to connect that dot, then you know what? We cannot help you. Go get your IQ checked at a Scientology hotel immediately. You know what? They love checking IQ, but you know what? How many IQs later and everyone's still dumb AF? Bamboozled. Can't even check that the person that everyone's following like a blind sheep is a convicted felon.
Didn't happen. And there was no justification why. It was just, excuse me, it was just that it didn't deliver. I was a willing student, or I was a willing participant, but the technology could not deliver that particular product. As I said on with Tony Ortega and all the other guys.
And here's the first thing that Joe is talking about, that the technology, and I'm glad that he went on the record, and I'm glad that he's saying it out of his mouth, you guys, because for all of you that are confused, oh, well, I thought this was a religion. Religion follows theology. Theology is abstract. Theology offers interpretation, freedom to interpret. Theology offers a spectrum, right? Like you could have people that can read something, and on a spectrum of something, it could be interpreted like this, could be interpreted like that. That's what all religions have in common. They are all theological philosophies. This man just told you, this is a technology. What is a technology that doesn't deliver a success? Right? Because these people were gambling their life. These people were gambling their kids for the chance to get something out of this technology. Oh yeah, I'm just not getting the result that I really paid from a technology. Like they really do believe it's a technology. Like they say it with a straight face. Like they're really convinced that they had a technology. Technology. So write that, clear that up for all the people that are very confused about how is technology a religious thing. Is Facebook technology? Can Facebook go around recruiting people to, volunteer for them for 1 billion years too? Because they're technology too. Is that why the tech companies are so cozied up with Scientology? Is that why Google sanitizes Rebecca's image every single 5 seconds so that everything gets pushed down and there's no information and Rebecca's great and Rebecca's wonderful and don't you want another bag to vomit in?
I said, look, you can feel good in Scientology. There's some good stuff into it, but you absorb what's useful and then you disregard what's useless.
Oh yeah, there's good things about it, guys. Oh, get on the bandwagon. Here's Joe that left. Here's Joe who's, left his kids right there behind, Well, Carol, I guess you really fought me. I guess you really disconnected. And where is this deadbeat father coming and getting Alana and Jordan out of there? Nowhere. Because you know what? According to him, he was just kicked out of the club. Like, he's just literally like, ew, we don't want you. Ew, goodbye. He left his kids back there. Oh, okay, well, you disconnected from me. Oh, you don't want to talk to me anymore. There's some good things about Scientology, though. Like, you really have to keep the good. What is the good if all the kids are in danger? Clear and present danger. Can anyone really put it in the chat? Put it in the comments. Start typing the ways that this can work in the way that this man is pitching right here.
And then you add what's specifically around. That's a Bruce Lee quote. And it's really true. But you couldn't do that in Scientology. It had to be them or that was it.
Oh, yeah. Let's invoke Bruce Lee. Nothing like bringing up Bruce Lee and Scientology and a quote and a this and a that. I mean, I want you guys to see the level of delusion. because we do have to see it for ourselves. Like, we have to open everyone's eyes. We have to stop pretending that these people are not exactly who they're telling you they are here on, because this man, before he, went into his afterlife, he did make a lot of damning admissions right here.
Right.
So I then said, well, all right, it wasn't working. I couldn't make it to the career. I was playing great football, but I never accomplished those particular goals. Well, I ran into suppression. I ran into, the politics of football, favoritism. And it was just like, I didn't want to do that anymore.
What's hard to swallow about this, guys, honestly, is when you get into how this guy got recruited. Mind you, they got him at 19. So, brain was still very malleable. Mind you, kind of had a PTSD war situation going on in his situationship, because you know what? His father moved him back to Lebanon in the middle of like a civil war. That was his childhood. Scientology got him at 19 when he was a huge rugby athlete. So it is true what we've been denouncing, that these people lose the capacity to evolve, that their growth is purposely stunted. This man is infantile at best. Delusions, illusions. Oh, it's all this rah-rah. They're all just rah-rahing themselves. And the technology, we really had a technology, we really had this, and we really had that, and they just cannot come to terms with the fact that they had nothing. That they had nothing. That everything that happened that they contributed to was completely indefensible. Try pitching something different right now as we're pointing out what is indefensible about this, because you'll see that it's still super occluded.
So then I'd say, well, I might as well just join the SEAL, okay, and go spiritually free, class 12, because there is a class 5 auditor. So go all the way up the bridge, class 9, class 12, fine. That'll be another game. I could do that. And that was the reason.
That'll be another game. So again, very important point to make. If you go into Scientology as a full-grown adult and you want to be doing this game, answer for your adult choices. Kids do not have a capacity to be introduced to the game. What these adults are into, no kid can be exposed, no kid can be embroiled, no kid can be forced to be part of a technological nothing. Nothing in Scientology is safe for kids. In case anyone's still wondering, in case anyone's still too stupid to do the research, too stupid to grab a book from that convicted felon and not start finding the 1,000,001 ways where you really would not want a child to be developing under those conditions, because they are extreme. It doesn't get more extreme than what L. Ron Hubbard was pitching. But meanwhile, no one can clock L. Ron Hubbard. No one can clock that degenerate that is already dead, that is already gone out of the universe. Everyone's still like, our L. Ron Hubbard, and he did write this and he did write that. I mean, you see the affinity that these people have for that man. They cannot help themselves. They're in love with their goo-goo gaga daddy figure, L. Ron Hubbard.
Reason why I joined. And Carol wanted to join. So I was in almost simultaneously, we thought, well, this was the right action to do. And that's what we did. And that's why we joined the SEAL.
So let me ask you this. So you got into Scientology.
So here's how Danny Masterson got exposed to the Sea Org at a very, very vulnerable age, you guys. And again, what are we calling out? Kids being exposed in these environments under these circumstances so that these adults can go have whatever it is that they get at the hotel. And here he is. Oh, yeah, we really thought that is what was really going to be great and what was really going to be wonderful. But you know what? It wasn't going to be great or wonderful what you were doing inside of those hotels. It's time for you to start looking at what you were doing. What you were actually doing, not Not what you, oh, I really thought I was saving our world. Like, come down from that delusion, come down from that ego, nothing to do with reality that you try to force yourself to have so that you don't have to admit that you literally are in an infantile state, thanks to L. Ron Hubbard.
In 79. By 83,
78. Yeah. Yeah.
78.
Yeah.
By 83, you were already class 5 OT 7.
Yeah, I was the highest trained HRD auditor, way to happiness auditor, class auditor.
Way to happiness auditor. I was this, I was that. It's like, it's the pride that they have that they completed these disgusting courses, you guys. The more courses they completed, the more stupid Scientology they applied. Where is their wanting to be like, well, you know what? Yeah, I think we took it too far. Maybe we should. No, there is no conscience. There's no awareness. Everybody figured it out again, because adults that went into this as adults are not pressed. They come out of the cult that they chose to become part of, and then they leave and they're like, oh yeah, you know, there were good things about it. I guess, you know, you live and you learn. That's not the choice a child gets. FYI, for the 10th billionth time.
Period. I did everything.
That's
and
incredible.
it was like, it was easy for me, because I said academics was easy for me. It turned out to be my benefit, because I had to know this technology. And you've got to be a sharp student, as you know, Aaron, in this technology, not just in certain areas. You've got to know.
With the technology. So for all of you that really think that these people really think that that's why Rebecca couldn't answer whenever she was asked, well, okay, how can you be Jewish and Scientology? Because Scientology is my technology and Jewish is the thing that I try to relate with other people to. That was the answer that she needed to give to those housewives that Rebecca couldn't bring herself to say. Because again, she's proud that she has access to the technology. She's proud. She feels so special. It's a special deal that she gets at that hotel. You know, you've seen her. She got $100 million company, and you know, she didn't even go to school. She's a high school dropout. It's like, oh my God, if only you could be like Rebecca. Yeah. But what came with that, Rebecca? What contingencies are attached to all that happened to where you are right now? Because that's what, you know, maybe you should spend your time writing about in your Fearless book. Write a whole addendum and add that context of all the other stuff so that, you know, when a female founder sees you, they're not bamboozled by, oh my God, she's made so much money and she's really got it going on and it must have been great and must have been wonderful. And she's had no what? Interference? No payola, no special favors, no special access. I mean, we're literally talking about the access you had from Danny Masterson himself, Rebecca, who you've already said was amazing, was great, and was wonderful.
The whole thing, because you're going to get screwed on one end or the other. Depends on which side of the fence you're on at that time. Yeah.
It's a little noteworthy considering you didn't want to read that first Dianetics book.
Oh, totally. But here's what they did. The CEO member said, Joe, what do you want to achieve out of Scientology? I said, very specific. X amount of dollars to be made, speed, happiness, and so they said, you can achieve all of that going up the bridge.
So they could achieve all of that going up the bridge. They were chasing something. They were going for something. They were getting themselves into it. If it works, if it doesn't, for the adults, who gives a literal F? For the kids, I can tell you it doesn't work. For the kids, I can tell you it's weird. For the kids, I can tell you it's disgusting. For the kids, I can tell you we were nauseated 24/7, 365 with what in the F these weirdos were doing and pitching to do all around with everyone watching. Do you know how destabilizing for you to be a child and watch all of this be happening and no one says, everybody's, oh no, that's great. Oh, did that kid go out to eat with that adult? Oh yeah, let's get him on a sec check, guys. Let's really get a lot more money. Before 2, get 100 grand on the Amex. Call your business manager. Here's 100 grand. Put it on my Amex before 2 o'clock. But no one's pressed. No one, oh no, there's nothing wrong with that. What? The IRS said this was great and wonderful. This is being subsidized by the IRS. Again, for the people in the back that really want to go, oh, let's beg the IRS to revoke something. In what world is the IRS going to revoke shit? When they're the ones that are subsidizing this through tax write-offs that they do give all of these people. Write-offs that can be connected to including but not limited to self-admitted felonies. That's what they're doing at the hotel. The IRS knows. The IRS is okay with this. The IRS loves it, gives tax write-offs. It's in the business of, really helping self-admitted felons. The IRS is like, yeah, you know what? Technology that helps self-admitted felons figure out a way to not go to a criminal attorney when they have criminal behavior that they've engaged in. Yeah. Oh, you $100,000 it cost? Yeah, sure. Take that off your bill. Why give it to Uncle Sam when you can give it to L. Ron Hubbard, right?
I said, okay, sold. If I'm sold a bill of goods and I see that that's the path out, I'm going to do it. I'll move the mountain. I've done it all my life. So this is just another obstacle.
You were not sold a bill of goods. You were sold a bill of bullshit. From A to C. Again, they try so hard to keep this idea that there was something that was, because again, they liked it. There was things in Scientology these people were enjoying and liking. Glad that they liked stuff about that shit. We didn't like nothing. This was our entire formative years that we were there.
So what's the big deal?
Right.
The end
That was the big deal.
result was going to be valuable.
So help me with the timeline here. I
Sure.
got the 88. I'm sorry, 78
Yep.
to 83. What year did you and Carol get married?
85.
Okay. All right. And then what year did you both join the Sea Org?
85.
Oh, okay. But you guys
We
got married
in the Sea Org.
You got married in
The Sea Org. And we got married in the Crystal Ballroom on the 10th floor.
Well, now I'm
The Crystal Ballroom at the Fort Harrison, the 10th floor, guys. That's where the marriages were going on. Including my own. Imagine that.
really confused.
Yeah.
So you guys joined the Sea Org as non-spouses, but
Correct.
you were already a couple.
Correct.
Then you joined the Sea Org, then you got married because you had to at that point, right?
Yeah. It was no.
Yeah. So people had to get married when they went into the Sea Org. They couldn't share a room. They couldn't have sex if they weren't legally married. In Scientology, that's all it took. If you had the certificate that you were married, guess what, guys? Everything goes. That's how these people looked at it. As long as we have a certificate that says marriage, then you can have sex, then you can do this, then you can do that, then you can do. Everything goes. Isn't that great? That just, since kids are miniature adults, oh, did you get the certificate? Did you get the marriage certificate? Oh yeah, then go get a room. Go, F your eyeballs out on the 3rd floor of the Fort Harrison. Yeah, we'll get you a room. Oh yeah, we'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. Oh yeah, we'll pay for it. Where other hotel can you find that service in America? Please advise whoever in the hell can find that hotel chain that allows that gives that service, that has the type of parents that bring their kid and says, oh yeah, they got the certificate. Oh, but they're married. Oh, but she's 14 and he's 28. Oh, but they got a certificate. And who gives an F? They got a certificate. It's legal. Child marriage is legal. Kids are adults in small bodies. Kids are miniature adults. They take it far. They take it to the nth degree. Thank you, Tampa A. Yes, we've stayed on the most important cause of the No More Kids in Scientology and love for every child trapped inside, that we won't give up until we get them out. No. And we're having to inform the public of what these parents are doing. I mean, prior to this, you guys, I understand it. Where was the evidence? Like, a lot of people can have a lot of emotions about these people and be like, it's weird, is this, is that. But it's like, we need to clock the actual situation ship. We need to show you where the clear and present danger is through their own admissions. They've already gone on the public record. They've already said these things. Like Rebecca has sent us down this rabbit hole. And our job is to become educated advocates. The better we understand what problems are being faced by these kids, how these parents are all putting them in clear and present danger, how none of them want to be told no, how none of them want to be told to rein it back, how none of them want to be told that L. Ron Hubbard is a convicted felon and maybe they should not be doing what in the hell he's advising. I mean, that's the issue. So, you know, I appreciate you, Tampa A, because I know that you know, all of you that are here have, you know, have always come back and you're there on the replay. And, you know, and again, it's like we have to get this information out so that people become educated and understand what the problem is. We're trying to take the emotion out. Yes, we're all incensed and it shouldn't be happening. But right now, it requires all of us to actually learn how these people think, learn what they've been told, learn what their psychology is, so we can show you what are these kids really facing. And then we really need to like figure out in what world is David Minkoff a mandated reporter, and where are the reports of David Minkoff on any type of mandated reported situation ever in the track of his doctor life as a doctor, because that would be great to really understand where those reports have been from that mandated reporter. You know what? Mandated reporter is something we didn't even know existed as a word in Scientology. Turns out that priests are mandated reporters. Since 1997, the priests and the clergy, you guys, are mandated reporters. Imagine the Scientology attorneys that never told anyone about mandated reported inside Scientology, have no clue, because these people have no idea what mandated reported is. It's a foreign concept to them. They report on themselves. They pretend that they reporting, they controlling, they running their cacamimi handlings on themselves is what really mandated reporting is about.
A casual relationship.
So, but then you guys have these kids. So
Yep.
what you guys are both Sea Org members. What does that
Yep.
mean for Danny and Chris at that point?
Well, Danny and Chris live with their
So here's parents going into the Sea Org with very young kids because they wanted to do the right thing, because they wanted to do the... Can we skip the bullshit that these people want to do the right thing? When you have an 8-year-old and you just see for... I really want to... They're just looking out for themselves. They just want to go into their little hotel cult and rise up these channels of importance of all this fake clout that they're chasing inside of these hotels. You guys, I cannot tell you. It's just Operation Fake Clout inside of there. They're all just like struggling like lemmings to be like, oh, look, I just attested this. I just completed that. And they really are believing that those fake clout certificates they're getting are very, very meaningful.
with their father for part of the year, and they came down with us for part of the year. Okay, schooling and back and forth, you know.
So here's when we start to get an inkling on the instability of Danny, right? Because not only did Carol Masterson, another deadbeat mother that put her kid in harm's way, literally, oh yeah, come to the Sea Org, 8-year-old, stay at the Quality Inn motel for 6 months. Motel. So for all of you that are saying, Serge, why do you keep calling it hotels and motels? That's where the F we were. We were either stuck in motels or hotels or commercial buildings. That's where we were kept as we were being trafficked.
Their dad, Peter, was very accommodating, very good guy. And then Jordan came along instantly.
So this was back when you could still have children in the Sea Org.
Correct.
So Jordan, Danny's baby brother, born inside the Sea Org. Did any of y'all know that? That Danny Masterson's youngest little brother, Jordan, was born in the Sea Org because, you know, while Carol and this man were out on a mission to really save our world by becoming sycophants of a convicted felon and exposing their kids to, you know, this mission to really save our world by way of getting locked up at the Quality Inn, a disgusting, rundown hotel that was roach infested, rat infested, the most decrepit installation you can possibly imagine. Like, you know, Stephen King's movie would be Disneyland compared to this disgusting place that these people were having there in Clearwater. I'm telling you, like, disgusting.
Okay.
Correct.
I
You
had
did- go
I
ahead.
have never, I'm sure it's been said before, I'm sure it's been published before. I had no clue that Jordan and Alana Masterson were born into the Sea Organization.
Yeah. Well, Jordan was. Alana was born in '88,
And okay.
and that was after we left the Sea Org.
Okay.
Okay.
So they did a small stint. Never mind that they didn't really last that long there. They did a small stint of 3 years. But I mean, again, you guys, these are like 3 years where your kids are the most vulnerable at 8, at 6. When these people are moving you from here to there, to go to that hotel, to go with that person, go over there, go to that school, come back over here, it's like they didn't care. They treated the kids like they were adults. There was no consideration whatsoever, not in the slightest. Like, and again, these kids, because they're forced to suppress all their emotions because they're handled like little robots with control remotes, come up tone. You're looking down tone right now. Come up. Like, that's not normal. That's not a normal way to parent a child. That's dehumanizing a child. That's literally using emotions and destroying that child's humanity because they don't allow their kids to feel bad about anything they're getting exposed to. They cannot complain. They cannot cry. They cannot make a stink. Anything you do like that, they have so many punishments that they teach you. They're always grooming you. Oh, you want to get an ethics handling? You want to do a repair pass ethics condition? You want to do falsetto stripping? You want to do a method 9? You want to read the ethics book again? Everything I mentioned is a complete and utter torture to a child. It means you're locked up there with some person asking you disgusting questions and why are you ethics out? And you're just a fucking child and you don't know what in the F these disgusting zombie robots regurgitating everything the convicted felons say to say are just like bombarding your mind with stupidity, with complete and utter stupidity, whether delusions. They get off on feeling so superior. Oh yeah, let me really teach you this word that L. Hubbard did right here, as if we wanted to know.
Okay. So, but Jordan, Jordan was born at in Meese Hospital, just down the road.
Meese Countryside.
There you go.
That's my oldest daughter was born there. That's
Isn't that
incredible.
crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, he had a bit of an issue. He had that spinal bifida.
Yeah, that's why we should start the proposal to name Clearwater cult water, because how many cult babies have been born in that city? How many doctors in cult water have never reported shit? Not just Dr. Minkoff. I mean, give it up to all the ones at the hospitals that have never reported jack shit. 0 reports from hospitals about any possibility of abuse of kids. Damn. How many decades has this been going, you guys? In cult water? Imagine how they grease the lines. They're really good at what they do.
Bifinitis or whatever they call it. And I had to stay overnight because it was not really good. Anyway, Carol couldn't deal with that. So I said, no problem, I'll stay with him. Unfortunately, he did a spinal tap and he was fine, but that was Jordan.
Wow.
He came along.
So you were in the Sea Org flag for you and Carol were in for a few
2
years.
years.
Then.
Yep.
Okay. So during the part of the year that Danny and Chris would come down and I guess live with you guys.
Yeah, the QI. You know where the QI is down on US 19? Did you live there?
Yeah, that must have sucked. They must have hated that.
Put it this way, it wasn't a 5-star hotel. How about that?
It was a motel that was run down, you guys. When I said it's disgusting, filled with cockroaches, filled with kids that were all being emotionally neglected, emotionally just left dumped in the middle of a motel to take care of each other, where all the kids were just exposed to, like, there was no caretakers. The kids were the lowest priority for these people, in case that has not been made clear by anybody. In case for all of you that have spent all this time learning about Scientology only to not ever consider this part. What are the kids going through? Well, these adults are out there, pitching their technology. Oh yeah, I guess, You have no idea the type of technological wind you could get when you get inside one of those hotel rooms and you really start going at it with the meter and they really start asking you disgusting questions. Oh, yeah, it's just so amazing. It's just so great. So great.
And plus, what did you guys get to see them for an hour or two a day, or how did that work?
That was it. As you know, the schedule finished at 5. We'd race home, be there by 5.
You're raising a baby. Let that sink in. Jordan is a baby. I mean, just like me, you guys, I was born already in the Sea Org. Laura was born already in the Sea Org. Miriam was born already. I think Miriam was 3 years out of the Sea Org, but then brought in when you're most vulnerable. And your parents are not protecting you. Your parents are deluded. They have no critical thinking skills. They have no parental instincts. That's what L. Ron Hubbard ripped from their brains. As much as they say, oh, no, we don't have a brain because we're a Thetan. Yeah, you're a Thetan, sure.
5:20. We'd have an hour and 15 minutes of family time, which was either go get something to eat.
So 2 hours. 2 hours a day. That's the time that Carol had to, raise her baby. Gee, I wonder who was raising Jordan. Well, he was 4 months old at the QI. Full of flies, full of cockroaches, full of kids running around crazy, yelling, screaming, neglected. That's the QI. For anybody that has no idea, that I could never imagine is the most decrepit, disgusting scene. A run-down motel in Florida full of mildew, full of like black mold everywhere, full of asbestos. I mean, the hacienda was definitely full of asbestos. Yeah. But they're a religion. That's not trafficking, right, guys? No, that's not trafficking because they were at the Quality Inn Motel. So what happened to kids get trafficked at motels? What happened to all the kids that were trafficked out of the QI? But the city of Clearwater has no idea, you guys. Oh, my God. Do you know how many times they went and did inspections and everybody ran around? Oh, my God, the inspectors are coming. Clean it up, paint it up, take all the kids over here, make it look like there's only this many. These people had spies and payola people everywhere down the road so that they could just handle their, oh yeah, don't ever come to our motel without telling us. They had it that specifically done. And you know how we know that? Because stupid ass Angie Blankenship and Debbie Cook would tell us at their base briefings, oh, you guys, we just found this person that's really helping us at the city and they're just really going to help us. And don't you worry about it. We're not going to have this flap anymore of people just showing up to our cult motel, roach infested with tons of underage kids. That's how much they knew. So for all of you who are wondering, maybe they didn't know. They were telling it at the staff meeting. Debbie Cook, Angie Blankenship, all these executive ladies would go up and talk and say, and oh my God, the city also is about to give them more fruit baskets. They would literally come and show us the fruit baskets that they would prepare for the people at the Clearwater Police, for the people at the city that they wanted to, smooch over. I mean, these people were just literally safe pointed by fruit basket. I mean, Debbie Cook loved a good fruit basket. I mean, that woman was fruit baskets all the time. And then you got every week, you guys. I mean, this was every week. Every week is the same thing. Every week is the same thing with these people. They're on this like stuck rote existence. It's really, really far-fetched and is honestly disgusting.
Eat or sit down with the kids and then leave them and rush back to the Fort Harrison.
Okay. So, so Danny and Chris had, I mean, that is an immersive Scientology experience as a young. That means at the QI, they're living with all the other Sea Org kids.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Did they go to a regular school when they would come to town, or some Scientology homeschool stuff?
Yeah, some regular school, but they mainly they never joined the Sea Org. They weren't in the Sea Org, the kids themselves. But whatever education we did, either to a true school or local, then we.
So you see him here hemming and hawing. Like, not having your kids is in school, it's illegal. Human trafficking, red flag, apparently never was wrote. Because again, you see this father like, oh, yeah, They were just doing this, you know, whatever school. The Scientology parents didn't give an F if kids were going to school. When Hubbard told us education is stupid, education is dumb. Who would want to get educated? Who would want to get educated when you can just come and learn L. Ron Hubbard? You don't need anything else. You don't need nothing else. It's L. Ron Hubbard and L. Ron Hubbard only. That's what they wanted. They wanted all the kids dumb, uneducated, so that the L. Ron Hubbard would stick. That's these traffickers, just FYI.
Did that, but when they went back to New York, they were with their father. So it was a bit of a back and forth, you know, between the kids.
Wow. Okay, I'm getting the picture.
Yeah, back and forth. At their youngest ages, just being sent to a fucking motel, roach infested for 6 months, and then ending up in New York. Go, you know, look, that's what a kid in Scientology gets. So it's right there.
Sure, the best I've ever gotten it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so then now I've heard you talk about your job in the Sea Org. What
Yep.
was your actual post?
Originally, when I joined the SIG, I was to go into the Class 12 auditor program.
Mhm.
Jeff Walker was the senior CS at the time, and he said, "I'm going to put you straight through because your academics and the way you."
Oh yeah, your academic. Like, this man has serious daddy issues. All it took is for some Scientology person to see that and go, "Oh yeah, I really want you to make you a class 12 because, you know, your academics are so great and wonderful. Oh, you like me? Oh, you want me? Oh, I'm special. Oh, where do I sign for that billion-year contract? Oh, don't you have 2 pretty young kids? Oh yeah, but don't you just put them in that motel, roach infested, that you went and visited, that you went and saw?" These parents went, saw the installations, saw that there were roaches everywhere, saw that there were rats, saw that there was mildew, saw that there were kids running around completely uncared for, and said, "You know what? This is great and wonderful. Let me go save our world. See you at 11 p.m. when I get off post from saving our world. Yeah, see you then. See you then." Because they all knew. This man knew where he was dumping 2 of his non-kids. Never mind that he also just dumped his baby there too. Because that's the type of deadbeat father this man is. He had a child inside the Sea Org, Jordan. And he thought, you know what I need to do? Continue saving our world. You know what I need to do while he's 1 to 3 years old? Go fly around the world to, you know, check up on people that want refunds from Scientology and really handle that. Because, you know, Scientology's hooking me up with child care at that Quality Inn, roach infested, cockroach infested, mildew infested. Everybody saw it. Everybody knew it. Everybody lived in those disgusting, degraded being birthings. But, you know, you don't hear much regret over that, you know? All you hear is little jokes. Oh yeah, it was no 5-star hotel. I mean, never mind that the hotel, the motel, the disgusting installations were the least of our problem. Let's just start by that. Let's just make that point clear. So for anybody that thinks it's like, oh yeah, the installations of these disgusting motels and hotels and commercial buildings are the least of our problem. It's what went on inside that is the problem. So let's make sure that that's clear for the people in the back.
You go through your courses and your internships and your stellar results. We're going to put you straight through because already it's a Class 5. So it's quite.
I was a Class 5 and I went through my internships and my courses and the senior CS told me and the senior CS this. It's like, these people are so pathetic. That's all it took. All that Class 9, Class 12, I really want to go. They were inflating their ego by certificate of a convicted felon from 2-week courses inside of a hotel that they were very proud to have completed. So Exhibit A of how proud.
Easy with them just sticking on the briefing course, which I started. And then I was knocking it off in a week, 10 days each level. So just no problem. And then one day I was called to the chaplain's office and I was told to go to New York to handle refunds. And I said, well, what is a refund? You know, a person wants their money back. That was the first time I ever heard that term, wanting their money back. And I said, all right, that's fine. I'll go. I thought, go to New York. Why not? I'm a flag. Go to New York for a week or two. And there were 6 requests. And I went up there and I handled 5 of the 6 requests. And it was a huge eye opener. I met a very famous Broadway director, a very famous guitar-based builder, Ken Smith, good guy. And I said at Tony's interview the last time, I met Ed Broider. Now, Ed Broider owns all of the Oakwood apartments globally. He was a billionaire. I didn't even know he was a billionaire. And wanted
So while baby Jordan is at the QI with the maggots, with the cockroaches, with the flies, with the mildew, with the kids running around crazy, with the lack of complete and utter emotional neglect that a baby needs, because Carol was also saving our world back then, and she only had 2 hours with them, but you were prancing around with billionaires in New York. Imagine that. And, very proud of it, apparently, also. Oh, yeah, I was with Broadway directors. I was really getting them to not get their money back from me, and I really met this billionaire. I mean, what is it with Scientology and billionaires? Calling Jeffrey Epstein, calling whatever other billionaire really thought was a great, wonderful idea to, go visit these hotels. I mean, this man is making his kids available to them. What's the big deal? Who's going to report anything to who? Who is going to report anything to who? Start connecting the dots.
His money back. That was kind of like the interesting interaction, Aaron. I was like, why do these people want their money? So that was how it started.
Wow. So when they were sending you all over the world to handle these refund requests, at some point, I guess you're no longer a class 12.
Grown-ass adults that, were pressed, didn't want it anymore for them. And you know what? They just had the luxury of asking for a refund. Oh, yeah, give me my $100,000 back. I don't want to go to the hotel anymore. Give it back to me. I want it back. What type of refunds are children being granted? Where are those years they steal that they can give back? No refund is possible for taking a child's entire childhood. There's no refund on that shit. But here's this man who has a literal baby stuck at a cockroach infested motel in Clearwater, Florida, bouncing around New York, and he's loving it. He's so proud of his work.
Auditor trainee.
Because I got yanked out of there now, so I'm not going. Now I'm like I'm too valuable, so they just sent me everywhere.
So just for the the Scientologists and the former Sea Org members who are watching, I like to give them the real.
I'm too valuable. Oh yeah, I'm sure you were so valuable that Scientology declared you and cut you off from Alana and Jordan.
Lingo. What was this post that you were on, or was it just a project?
It was just a refund request.
Just refund request project,
under
whatever.
the KOT, the Keeper of Texts Department.
Oh, under the LRH okay.
Yep, and because it was a double penalty against the.
That's what they had, you guys. Anybody who complains in Scientology is getting handled. This was a handler of the people that had complaints with Scientology. He would go there, and in I think another podcast, he called himself the cleaner upper. He's like, oh, just like the mafia, I always thought of myself as the cleaner upper, because he would go and, rub elbows with the billionaires that are, thinking about it and not really getting what they signed up for and really wanting their money back, because, plenty of adults have not had to go get some help to get out of their cult, because grown-ass adults can walk themselves out. Breaking news. For all of you that really want to go and save every last adult. Adults walk out when the fuck they want. And here's Exhibit A that is going on. And here's Exhibit A that plenty of adults were doing it. Here's 6 adults that he just said were in New York asking for their money back. And, apparently they have a whole setup, Scientology, to deal with that.
VSD Aaron at the time. I don't know if you knew that.
I heard you say that in an earlier interview. That's insane.
It really is, which meant rice and beans. And I was like, no big deal. I didn't mind rice and beans, as I've said, because my mom used to make that dinner. Yeah. But it got brutal.
So what he's talking about there is BSD, value of services delivered. So in Scientology, if somebody asks for $200,000 back, if Scientology isn't able to force the person to not ask for that $180,000 back, then Scientology people that are working inside the org get their value of services delivered, what is called penalized. Okay, so instead of them delivering $1 million this week of services, because remember, everything in Scientology is an invoice. Everything in Scientology is a transaction. Everything in Scientology is commerce. But never mind that the IRS is still going with the pitch. They're saving our world. Everything is like, here's your invoice. Here's your VSD. Here's your target. Here's your routing form. Here's your next course. Cha-ching, cha-ching. That's how it's run. So this penalty that wouldn't make any sense to anybody because they do run their place like it's a corporate. Herbalife meets like, I don't know. I don't even know what you could call it.
Got brutal for a while.
So you and Carol, you're in the Sea Org together for a couple of years. You're doing your thing. She was the DFP at Flag.
Yep. 2 HCCs, by the way. 2, not 1, 2.
And the AO HCCs or the regular HCCs?
All the OT5 PCs.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah. 2 HCCs. You guys, the HCCs are the people that are arranging the audits, that are marrying up. Who's going to audit you? How much money did you pay? Let me check here. Oh, yeah, you have $90,000 on account. Oh, yeah, let me get you a great auditor. Oh, my God. We have great news. We have a great auditor for you. She's 14. She's our biggest, most amazing class 8. She just completed her class 8 course last week. She got an RTC pass and she's just 14 and she's so good and you're going to love her. So you have $90,000 on account. So yeah, that'll run you up like what? 800 hours with that 14-year-old. Have fun, right? Wins. So for all of you that are confused what Carol Masterson was doing, that's what Carol Masterson was doing because that's what an DFP does. That's the person that run those HGCs are putting people together. You go with that one. You get audited by that one. You get out disgusting questions by that one. I checked your invoice here. You got $200,000 on account. Let's get this other auditor over here to really dig in on you. And they get told, they get CC'd, everything that's going on with the person's, oh, look what just came out, this disgusting out 2D that's really, really illegal. Well, you know, Carol, it'd be great to know if you considered yourself a mandated reporter back in the day, or were you just like a religious worker? Were you really just doing that for your religious purposes? Because that would be great to start finding what type of purposes were those, Carol Masterson.
There you go.
She was very good. No, she knew how to product officer. That girl could run a boat, no problem.
You know,
yeah. Carol Masterson can run a boat, no problem. Except she's delusional. She wasn't on a boat, but she pretended to be on a boat. She dressed as if she was on a boat. That's the type of clowns these people were. So for anyone, wondering like, the clownery couldn't be more self-imposed. They went and dressed up as if they were on a boat. And they were stuck in moldy, disgusting motels in Florida. And you know what? They really dressed it up. They put the shirt and the coat and the chain and the bullshit clown uniform.
After spending about a month sitting next to them in the courtroom every day, I wish I'd known a bit more of their history, so I sort of felt like I could understand.
It's really sad in a way. We'll get into that shortly, but you know, to see what they were, what they've done, and their statistics as when I knew them as a father, a husband, and as a stepdad, and to kind of see it now, which is it's a sad event on the sadness side. Whatever happened, happened. But that's, I'm just telling you, just to see it go from one extreme to another, it's a bit of an eye opener, you know.
Yeah, for.
And here he is purporting that it's an eye opener, you guys. But it's all bullshit. He just bullshitted. This was a bullshit performance. Oh yeah, so sad. No idea. One extreme. Too bad that your own admissions coming right up are gonna show us how full of shit this man actually is.
For sure. So you and Carol, you leave the Sea Org together, is that right?
Yes.
And while you guys were in the Sea Org, was Danny and Chris already getting into some sort of modeling, acting stuff?
No. Once they were modeling and acting before we joined the Sea Org. So she was running that business for the kids in New York in 1982.
The wonderful Carol Masterson that can run a boat was running her kids as a business. So for all of you who are wondering if Hollywood, aka Scientology, aka child actors, aka child models might have anything to do with trafficking, go double check. Go see if that dot connects whatsoever. Or is it really that they were just such precious kids that we really want to get them to be a big, great, wonderful model? Says Carol Masterson, sycophant of convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard, woman that thought her kids were miniature adults. Go get your exchange in, Danny. Go make us some money. Go model.
In 83 when I met them. Yes. And so she had a bit of a track record in Carolyn managing Danny and Chris on what they call print work. They were models for the Ford agency, which is a top modeling agency in New York.
Mhm.
And
shout out to the Ford agency that was all about Carol Masterson back in the day. You know, top agency and all. Shout out to you at Ford agency that were about tapping, you know, Danny and Chris. I mean, they couldn't have been more than like 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds, guys. Like, we're talking about their very young years. They said they joined the Sea Org at 85. These kids were young AF, and they were already being treated as a business by deadbeat, good-for-nothing mother, Carol Masterson. Got it.
I would go into the city, do an audition, come back. You get paid $50, $75, $100. It was bread and butter money. That's what she used to do.
Oh, it was the bread and butter money. Yeah, because you know what? When you're on staff, the deadbeat Scientology mothers made no money. But they were saving our world, right? It's what my mother said. Oh, yeah, I need to really go work there because, you know, I really need to go save a world. They don't pay you anything. Oh, yeah, but I'm helping so many people. You have no idea. Yeah, we do. We do have an idea now.
And then that stopped, obviously, when she joined the Sea Org. And then when we left the Sea Org, we got...
So, yeah, the kids lost their modeling careers while Carol was stuck saving a world in Florida at the rundown, cockroach-infested motels where her kids were just being passed on and she had no clue what in the hell was going on with them. It's great that you showed up for the criminal trial, Carol. I guess that was your amends project, right? Since you never showed up for your kids when they were young, now you're trying to overcompensate and show up, you know, in other places. Imagine that.
We came back to Los Angeles and then got back to New York in 88, where Alana was born in on Long Island. And we started back up again, back into the work business.
The Masterson family has a reputation for being extremely tight-knit.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, one way the family was described to me recently by someone who knows them well.
Yep.
Is this person said, I've actually never met a group of Scientologists who took that concept of always being at cause, always have to be at cause, and took that concept so seriously and was so dedicated to it.
That's the dumbest thing anyone has ever uttered out of their MF mouth. If anybody's going to say that the Mastersons were so at cause, then why in the hell is their life a complete and utter wreck? Cause over what? Throwing their weight around is cause? Utilizing undue influence to insulate themselves in the aftermath of having abandoned their kids. So, in case you thought that Danny Masterson should have no psychological issues as he was dumped for 3 years during, you know, pretty important developmental stages, where he was just dumped at that Florida hotel with the cockroaches. Oh yeah, go live there with the rest of the kids. Where's your schooling gonna come from? Who cares about school? Nobody gives an F about school. You're a model. You're going to be great. You're going to be wonderful. You're going to be a celebrity. You're going to help us get Scientology disseminated all over the world. You're very special. That's what the kids were being told. They were treated as adults. So they didn't cry. They didn't complain. They didn't say what in the literal hell. Because if they did that, you know, severe consequences were right around the corner. You want to go to the children's RPF? You want to be doing mess work for the next 3 weeks? You want to start painting all the walls for the next 2 years?
Is that your experience back then? Can you speak to that at all?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I think you've got to split it down. There's the gung-ho Scientology mentality, and there's the Scientology mentality. What do I mean by that? The gung-ho Scientology is no matter what happens, they're never at fault. They're always right. They can't be wrong. And get out of my fucking way, okay? Because I'm just going to change the galaxy. Whatever their mentality is. That's pretty...
The gung-ho Scientologists. Yeah, they're going to change their galaxy, guys.
hard to break, right? And then you got those guys who don't do the bridge, that are sort of Scientologists, but they're really not applying it fully if you're really being a proper Scientologist going.
It's called your children didn't want to do it. You disgusting, idiotic, Scientology, grooming parent. It's called kids that grew up in Scientology don't want the thing. It's called all kids that were subjected to this were disgusted, were nauseated. In what world is a child gonna ask what these people offer? If anyone can type that up really quick, make that make sense, Scientology parents. In what world can you really claim a child wants your audits, your ethics handled, or your stupid ass, disgusting grooming courses? We didn't want it. We didn't have an option. Turns out coercion is highly illegal. Turns out when you have no shred of capacity to consent and it's shoved down your throat, not like Becky Minkoff that already told us, for her, nothing was shoved down her throat. For her, she really waited until it really was something she wanted to do. Well, plenty other kids, Becky Minkoff, didn't get that chance. So imagine you apparently did get that. We would question that though, if we were you.
Up the bridge, because that's the only yardstick that you gauge yourself. If you're not moving up the bridge, then you're not. What are you doing? You're just sort of dabbling, or you're just filling around at whatever level. And the kids were like that, so they weren't really gung-ho Scientologists going up the bridge.
See, the kids were not gung-ho going up the bridge. Nobody wanted to do your stupid ass bridge. No kid wants to get exposed to this, you guys. It's weird. It's nasty. They're weirdos. They're complete and utter weirdos. No child is equipped to push back on it because they all act like you're the one with the problem. You're the one that thinks it's disgusting, but you're the disgusting one. So as a child, all you have is submit and acquiesce, and they're counting on that. They're counting on that. Why in the literal living hell would they be exposing this many kids to this if they weren't counting on that? Because that would be great to have answered right now.
And do I think they were gung-ho Scientologists in promoting Scientology outside of it to people? No, not at all. They didn't need to. They're actors, famous, fame, travel. You know, I can tell you the stories, but yeah, it's a different mindset. And the reason that
oh yeah, it's a different mindset. They're actors, the fame, the celebrity of it all, the specialness. They were special. That's what they were told their whole life. That's what they were told their whole life. They were infantilized to that degree because that's the problem. The problem with these kids that grow up in Scientology that then become celebrities is when they were kids, they were treated as adults. When they become adults, they become infantile, needing all manner of handlers to come tell them, to come show them, to come do stuff for them, to clean up all the smearing that they're doing. And that's what you have with all of these Hollywood celebrities. And it's not just the Scientologists, you guys. Breaking news. I mean, they take it to the nth degree though, right? Because like, you know, other celebrities that have those teams around them, give it to Scientology. Nobody does it like the Scientologists. That's what I can say. That's what I can say for sure. I don't know how anyone else does it, but these people do it like no one else. That's it. No one else has what they have. No one comes close.
they were tight was their mother. She runs that family. Make no bones about it. Okay.
Mhm.
When I was the father, you know, I grew up disciplined, so we did instill discipline and respect to those kids. But Carol,
Oh yeah, you instilled discipline while you were what? Talking to billionaires in New York while your baby was like what, developing? When did you father your kids? Again, the delusion, the denial. That's what these parents are. Handlers, enablers, and masters of denial. Here you have this man showing you a master class as a master of denial. He's coming here and he's purporting, oh yeah, let me really come clean here with you. But really he's doing it all for himself. It's all for him to look good. It's all for him to pitch himself as this and pitch himself as that. Because what? You don't think we're going to see through your bullshit? That's the problem that all Scientology parents have. Your shit is up. Your shit is so transparent. You're smeared with all of it. The only ones that don't see it is yourselves. And you know what? Shame on you for not seeing it on yourselves, but we're not going to act like we cannot see it when it's just so obvious and it's just so right
Or
here.
drove that train like she ran the HGC. I mean, she ran it like an HGC with those kids.
She ran it like an HGC with those kids, you guys. That's an important admission right here. So what does that exactly mean, she ran it like an HGC? That Carol Masterson would have had to be in the know of everything. Everything. There's no boundaries between these Scientology mothers and their kids. Carol Masterson wanted to know, when was the last time Danny masturbated? What was he masturbating to? Yes, a mother wanted to know that. In Scientology, the Scientology mothers want to know that. Oh, let me just check your withholds really quick. Oh, you're masturbating. Oh, what are you thinking about? Oh, write more about this time you masturbated. What did you do exactly? Write down what you did with your hand, what type of lube you used. That's what they want to know. Time, place, form, and event, all specifics. The Scientology mothers wanted to know how their underage kids were masturbating and what type of lube they were using. Why in the literal hell would a mother need to know those things? Really do ask yourself in a mirror, all Scientology moms. Don't pretend you didn't do it. Because you know what? If you want to be, oh no, Serge, I'm a Scientology mother that never knew how my child masturbated. Well, you know what? Someone at the hotel did know. And someone at a hotel asked you how you were doing it. So don't come with this bullshit that I didn't know that was being asked of my son or child, because everything that was asked of you as a grown-ass adult is being asked of a child. In case no one got the memo, kids and adults are the same. The same. The same. How many times do we have to say the same goddamn thing? Because apparently it's still not very clear. Apparently still people are confused, not knowing. You know what? You're in your fuck around, find out era. We will tell you what it is. You don't have to pay us to go clear. Everything will be clear as soon as you hear the facts. And the facts are going to be told to all of these Scientology parents. This Joe man is literally just a minefield of admissions, a minefield of what is the psychology of the Scientology parents and how they're crafting the narrative and how they're purporting and pushing and posturing all manner of things that show that they have no self-reflection, no remorse, no capacity to self-govern, because apparently, according to them, they were on a mission to save a galaxy. Go figure.
And so be it.
So when you married Carol in 85, how
Yep.
old was Danny?
Danny was 9 years old.
9 years old. How much of the year would you say, like either while you were in the Sea Org or even after, how much of the year would Danny spend with you guys versus spend?
9, 10, 11. Those are the 3 years that Danny spent going back and forth from Florida, 6 months at the roach-infested motel, to then go to New York, whatever that means. Then back to the roach-infested, then go back to New York. Then back to the roach-infested, then go back to New York. Then go back to the roach-infested, like every 6 months, apparently. Him and Chris. So Chris was even younger than that. Those are the most at-risk kids. That age. What these people do to those kids is irreversible. So wake the F up and stop pretending, Scientology parents, that you don't need any type of parental advice. You need all the parental advice, since you have no scruples left after L. Ron Hubbard is done with you all. And the only idiots that cannot see that is yourselves. So imagine being you.
And with his father, Pete?
Just go 50-50.
50-50. Okay, because Carol had split custody or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so you really were a genuine father figure to Danny from a young age.
I look, and I'll just talk to me as his stepdad.
Genuine father, deadbeat father figure. That was out bouncing around, feeling very Oh, I'm the one that really saved Scientology so much money on the refunds. That's what he was doing. So what these kids never had was any type of father figure. What kids in Scientology don't have is any type of mother figure. Your mother's not your mother. Your mother is a Thetan. You are a Thetan. You are already aberrated, disgusting, full of bank, full of engrams, full of service facsimiles, full of secondaries, full of locks, full of evil purposes, full of GPMs. No, all manner of stuff that you're born with already fucked up. And these adults never get tired of telling you how fucked up you are and how many disgusting things are already in your thing. Because, you know, you're on Earth in this prison planet that L. Ron Hubbard really gave us a roadmap to get out of. I mean, how stupidly infantile can these pathetic, disgusting, child-abusing degenerates actually be? It's an open-ended question for them.
Dad here, okay? When I raised him as a stepdad, what happens after the divorce in his life, that's his decision. Good or bad, right or wrong, he lives with it. But as a kid, you know, he was very athletic, hated school, didn't like school, hated studying.
Oh yeah, he hated school, right? Hated. The kid was back and forth from New York in a roach-infested motel where there was no schooling going on. Breaking news to you, idiot, that are pretending that you don't know what their schooling was. You were there in Florida. You were there at that QI. Breaking news to you, idiot. The so-called school was at the QI. I went to that school too as a child. So before you go, oh, yes, the QI was the school. And guess what? There was no school. Guess what? It was all a front. There were a ton of maggots. There were a ton of cockroaches. There were a ton of flies. There was a ton of mold. There was a ton of kids that were completely neglected. So, oh yeah, Danny hated school. What school did he go to?
I used to do his homework, him and Chris, okay? Because I used to love math. I used to be a teacher, school teacher, so why not? I could love teaching, so it was fine with the kids. So academics wasn't there.
So academics was not their greatest strength, and you did their homework for them. What homework did you do? Look at you lying through your goddamn... Oh, yes, if you really sat there as a father. Oh, you used to be a math teacher. Now you're also a math teacher. I mean, this man is everything, apparently. Except for someone that's telling the truth. Because, again, what homework was being given to kids that were stuck at the QI 24/7, 365? These kids had nowhere back to go to. There was no homework.
A big thing. But I still was a part of it. Whenever they needed to go and audition, I still drove them into the city. Wherever they needed to go, I drove them. Their father was great to them. Their grandfather, Frank, was an...
You were great at trafficking them. You were great at exploiting them. You were great at, wonder how much of that cash that they were making was ending up back into your and Carol's account so that your kids could provide for y'all. Oh, yeah, but I took him to the audition. Oh, well, great. How the F was a 9-year-old going to get themselves to an audition?
Incredible man, military guy. So you could see the installation of discipline really came from inside that clan, starting with the grandfather, who was a State Farm agent and a really good guy. I knew him very, very well. Big heart, and his wife, just a wonderful family. Actually, when I look back at it, I go, wow, what a really cool family.
A cool family that you ruined. So if that man was a State Farm agent and he was great and wonderful and ex-military and whatever, and he wasn't in Scientology, and again, he couldn't do anything to get his kids out because the kids acted very pressed. Carol Masterson, pressed as fuck. Don't tell me what to do. I really don't want to. You don't know what in the hell you're talking about. That's the self-righteousness of these people. They were doing disgusting things and they didn't want to be told that they were doing them.
Very cool. No problems, no upset, no entanglements, nothing. Just solid family. You can see it.
No upsets, no entanglements. Did you get the part where your own baby was stuck at the QI when he was 1, 2, 3 years old? No upset there or entanglement for you. Grown ass deadbeat father.
By the way, for those of you watching, if you have any questions for Joe, throw them in the chat and we'll tackle them once we're done with the main body of the conversation here.
Absolutely.
So, so when you got married, Danny was 9.
Yep.
How old was Danny when you had sort of the last, how do I want to word this? Meaningful involvement in his life. I want to get a sense of how long you were.
I would say that would have been around 1998, 1999. Okay. So that would have been about when he was about 22, 23 years old. He had just booked that 70s show. And remember, if you look at that, the TV show was based on 2 characters, Danny and the other gentleman out of Canada.
Topher.
Yeah, Topher. No, but Topher's dad in the show. He was in Robocop, the father. And they were the 2 anchors in that TV series. And all the other actors were novices. They weren't really that, class A, class B. They just filled in. And they held that show together. Danny done a previous show called Joe's Life the year before. We used to go to all the auditions on a Friday night taping. We used to go to all the go-sees. We used to do everything. So in 1998, he needed to buy a house. And I used to be in the mortgage business, finance. So I organized to get him a loan because it was very difficult because he was just still young. He was only 22, 23 years old. Banks don't give out mortgages to 22, 23-year-olds just off the cuff. There's no history of work. There's no longevity of work.
And again, you guys, how proud he is. Oh, he used to be in this show, that show, that show. It's like they talked about being on shows as if it was some sort of religious something. That's why these kids got so effed over and effed up because, oh, you got casted for that show? Oh, you're about to be famous? Oh, then that's going to get you perks at the hotel. Let's really broker that. Let's really broker that in because that might get us a little higher at the hotel. Let's really tell the president's office, oh, my son just got casted on a role. Can we be part of the president's office now? Oh, let me check. Oh, yes, now you are. Oh, yeah, no, come here. Oh, you just booked that? Oh, you're so upset. Oh, yeah. And who's the director? Who's the actor? Who's this? Is there anyone we can save point? Is anyone you can FSM for the hotel? We'll pay you 10%. Anyone you bring, keep us posted.
But I understand the mortgage business inside out. So I got the mortgage. I went with him to the closing, him and I. We sat down and we got him his house. And that's that house on Hollymont Drive, the one that's been mentioned.
Yeah, the one that was mentioned in the case. The one when he committed felonies. Yeah, that house that you're so proud that you got for him. And I mean, we should just be so happy. And isn't this so great? And isn't this so wonderful? Again, it's the disassociation from the facts, the enabling, the aiding and abetting for me.
In the court case. So yeah, that's how I got to know the family, even after the divorce.
One question, comment, observation, speculation that people give who don't know Scientology the way that you and I do.
Sure.
Who don't know the ways it goes wrong and how people get attracted in the beginning.
Yep.
They ask whether the behavior that we've seen from Danny, and by the way, I mean, let's be honest, he might have been convicted on 2 charges. At least 10 women have come forward and said he's done this.
Wouldn't surprise me.
A lot of people ask, did Scientology create this person? Did Scientology simply enable this person? Did Scientology leave Danny to think this behavior was okay? Did it just create an environment where he knew he couldn't get caught? I'd like to get your thoughts on those kind of questions.
Well, I think of all the people that would have a really good insight to it would be me, because I was on both sides of the refunds, the pissed off people, the guys that were promiscuous, the guys that said, fuck.
Yeah, you do have the answers, Joe. Again, you guys, how many times do we have to get you receipts of admissions? This guy knew all the promiscuous guys. Promiscuous. Why would they know that? Why were they so interested in that? Why was that such a part of a religious experience that all of these adults were having for themselves? All these people that wanted refunds, he was there asking them, are you being promiscuous? Men and women. How are you masturbating? How do you do it? Who do you think about? How long do you put your hand inside your, what? How long did you jerk it off for? How many times did you go up and down? That's the questions that we were required to have answered by grown adults as we were kids, starting at age 12 for me, starting at age 12.
You to the church. I mean, I've seen it all. Okay. So
he's seen it all. Seen it all.
Baffled me in the refunds, and this is kind of what was interesting to me, is that I knew that these people wanted their money back. And I wanted to know why. I didn't care who was right and who was wrong. I just wanted to know what the truth was. And once you get to the truth, then you can resolve the problem. But if you lie about it, you can't resolve shit. So in the case of refunds, if I found out what the guy
Not this man trying to lecture us about how when you really get to the truth, you can really resolve something. Meanwhile, he's lying through his teeth. Meanwhile, he has no regrets. Meanwhile, he's very proud of the amount of money and the type of handler he was for his cult of choice as a grown adult. Got it.
I was doing. For example, let's say there was a guy named, let's call him Victor Hurtado. I'll give you his name, out of Mexico. $180,000 refund request. It's a lot of money. Okay. I was sent to Mexico to fix this guy. Guy doesn't speak a word of English. He's registered for 180 grand. His account was debited for what we call gross book sale profits, and he never authorized any of that. I could go into that.
$180,000 back in those days, you guys. So for all of you who are confused about the numbers, what is the access that these people are getting as they're donating those numbers? How's everyone in this world so stupid? Really do ask yourself that question. Here's people that go to these hotels dropping $180K. What type of drug dealing, child, billion-year contract auditor that's really going to float your needle and get your ethics in is this? You guys tell us, the kids that grew up here. Because that was our existence. That's what these people were doing with our childhoods. That's what they were saying we were there to do. Yeah, Larry. When kids are that vulnerable and susceptible and malleable, that's when adults have to pay attention, because if nobody pays attention, then guess what? Shit goes awry.
That story. He wanted his money back, but he was suing the church. So after getting an interpreter and breaking it down, the guy had received psychiatric treatment when he was 11. And he'd been under the ECT thing for 3 years. And they knew it. And they still regged him for
the guy, and I mean, the guy was doing, the billionaire or the Mexican millionaire that gave him 180 grand was not allowed to get audits because apparently for him, he had gotten electroshocked at 11. And Scientology really needs to know that information off of you because they really want to, not follow any type of HIPAA laws. Because, people that complete 2-week courses in a hotel are all of a sudden asking you about every last operation, every last medical history, every last cancer treatment, every last psychiatric treatment. How many times did you do it? Who administered? What hotel? What hospital it was in? What was the name of the psychiatrist? When was it done again? Right? Because HIPAA laws, who gives an F? If you're a Scientology hotel, go F yourselves, the people that do HIPAA. Scientology doesn't give an F about your stupid ass HIPAA. They'll ask whatever the hell questions they want inside of these hotels. There's no boundaries. There's no limits. They go wherever in the hell they want, and they don't want to be told no. So put that on your notes.
all the money, knowing all too well he was never going to use that money. Because as you know, you're not eligible for auditing. What are you eligible for? Training.
So he showed up to take the services he paid for, and they're like, "You're not qualified to take these services."
I could give you 30 of those stories, and I'm in the middle of it. All right.
He could give you 30 of those stories. So for all of you who are wondering if there's more $180,000 stories out there that pay to really go and get some audits inside of these hotels, according to this man, there's 30 other stories like this that he could bring up.
So I'm thinking, why did we do that to this guy? Because they're driven by money. They're not driven by reality. Policy might be one thing, but the money overrides policy all the time. And that's why they sent me out there, to fix the people, to not give them back their money.
Right.
But when I was dealing with that in 86, there was hundreds of refund requests into the tens of millions of dollars. Remember, Flag at that time, Aaron, was doing $2 million a week. I was there.
$2 million a week. What kind of church is making $2 million a week? Is your church doing $2 million a week, you guys? Maybe all churches should follow Scientology's model and, start buying themselves some hotels Start running your stuff out of hotels. Learn from Scientology if you're not making $2 million.
There, watching that gross income being booked. $2 million a week in 85, 86 is a lot of money. 1 million of it was coming out of Europe from the FSC office. The other million was coming out of the US, Australia, and so forth.
Look at that, all that money, money, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars coming from Europe. Paying for what? How many kids were sent from Europe into the United States to go get serviced inside of these disgusting hotels? A lot.
So it was a big money maker. But now you're getting money refunds. Not a good idea. Yeah.
So I mean, that gives you perspective, on both sides of it, like where it can
Correct.
go right, where it can go wrong. What
Yep.
about this issue of people wondering how much responsibility does Scientology bear for what Danny became and did? What is your take on this?
I'll tell you, a lot of it squares on Danny because he's the one that pulled the trigger, if you know what I mean.
The Scientology parents that eroded all boundaries with their kids, treated their kids as adults, gave them no developmental skills whatsoever, left them neglected emotionally for years, have no capacity to look at what in the hell they did to their kid. Exhibit A. Exhibit A right here.
I'm saying, right? But if you're allowed to pull the trigger, then you're going to pull the trigger. And in the church, they turned a blind eye to him. I know because I've done it to so many other people that I had to go and sort out. Okay.
Isn't it great that he admits that they turned a blind eye? Apparently, per Joe, they turned a blind eye.
Why? Because they'd rather not have the public relations nightmare of a pissed off high roller, whether he's a celebrity as an actor or
Pissed off high roller. Didn't I tell you guys that this was a gambling operation? We got high rollers. The celebrities are the high rollers. The celebrities are the ones that get the most slaves available to themselves at any time. Yeah, that's true. That's exactly how it goes.
famous, or whether he's a big donor guy because they're driven by the money. So the compromise.
Yeah, fame or money. Those are the two things that will get you into the president's office, into the club where all the people at the hotel are vying to get. That's where Rebecca is. That's where Danny Masterson is. That's where, all manner of people are. Being handled, being hand selected, being given entourages to handle or disconnect, spy, and run their little coercive, undue influence operations. That's how it works.
of a two-tier justice system was way prevalent in Scientology. And I knew the big whales in Scientology. They got away with literally unbelievable criminality because of.
Breaking news from Scientology's refounder that really convinces people to give the money back to Scientology. He knows whales that got away with criminality. How many times have we told you guys that these people were asking for felonies? As such. In Scientology, nobody goes, so do you want to atone for anything? Anything you want to? No. What felony have you committed that the police failed to find out about? Self-incriminating questions is what the Scientology people are asking. So here's Joe corroborating the fact that he knows a lot of whales, $1 million donors. What type of crimes could get laundered with $1 million? That would have been a great follow-up question here.
Church turned a blind eye because they already got their money. You see?
Right.
If he didn't have the money and he was giving him a hard time, then they'd come after him. But because he was a status guy from the money side, they left him alone. If he was
He was a status guy from the money side. They left him alone, and they didn't leave him alone. Danny Masterson was getting handled. This bullshit narrative that he's running, that, oh yeah, they just really steer away from the celebrities and they don't come close. Scientology doesn't give an F what you think. You belong to them. They're going to come tell you what type of ethics handling you are getting. Period. Like, Danny doesn't get to decide, doesn't get to choose, doesn't get to. He's not senior than the president's office. He's not senior than RTC. He's not senior than OSA. He's a junior. He's a sub. He's a peon there in their celebrity stable. That's it. You know, and the minute that this man was doing this stuff, plenty of Scientology people knew. Plenty, including this man here.
Was a status guy from the celebrity side, as in an actor or a singer, the same treatment. So what did that really do? They just turned a blind eye to it. Now, if I would have done that, and I'm saying this young plebe that just, was, fooling around or did something, they'd be hauling me over the charcoals.
Right.
Hauling me over the charcoals. If you did something, like, Danny didn't just do something, Joe. So if you would have been doing that, you're saying that you would have been really raked over the coals. And what would that exactly encompass? You got sec checks, so they found out more information. You got tailor-made questions, so they, continued to become complicit in the cover-up of finding out exactly by tailor-made questions themselves just how deep that felony you committed really goes. Right. How many folders do you think Danny Masterson has, Joe? How many times do you think he was pulled in for sec checks? Neither Carol nor him nor his dead grandmother could have saved them from the sec checks. He was that much of a sub for his Scientology handlers.
Because they couldn't give a shit.
So I guess we're sort of talking about the classic nature or nurture question. Was Danny
Right.
created this way, or was he made this way? And I don't know that it has to be all of one or the other.
No,
So-
I think that it's like anything. If you steal a lolly and you think you got away with it, then you go fine. You think, well, hang on, if I got away with stealing a lolly, could I steal something bigger? So then you steal something bigger and you get away with it. So it just keeps driving you down that dwindling hole, or down into the abyss where you think you're just above the law.
If you steal a lolly, what was your stepson convicted for? So are we supposed to believe that because he stole lollies as a kid and you just let him go, he ended up getting convicted of the felonies he ended up convicted of? I mean, what type of BS garbage? How are people trying to make this point? How are these Scientology parents really trying to make this point? Who are they trying to fool other than themselves?
And you can't do that. And when the church doesn't do anything about it, because you're this quote unquote opinion leader or a value, they're not going to upset the apple cart until it blows up.
Right.
And then now they're brought into it. You see?
Yeah.
I've got some business Scientologists, even the Reed Slacker. I know Reed very well. I did business with Reed. I had to sort Reed out with a couple of business issues. Look what
I mean, this man cannot help himself. He's so proud in his time of Scientology. I knew Reed Sletkin. I helped him sort out a couple business deals. Well, you certainly didn't help him stop the racketeering Ponzi scheme he was running. So whatever the F business deals you were handling, you couldn't have missed all of his withholds. You couldn't have been more pathetic. You couldn't have been more ineffective. You couldn't have been more of a pathetic imbecile, missing all of Reed Slatkin's criminal activity that he was, running right there out of the Scientology hotels.
happened to him.
So was Reed, is that an example of a guy who got away with a couple
Totally.
things? He got away with shit even before his big Ponzi scheme blew up?
Totally.
Wow.
Reed was doing shenanigans. Look, my kids had their money with Reed Slacker.
My kids had their money with Reed Slatkin, he says proudly. The Ponzi schemer, Reed Slatkin, the convicted Scientologist that, kind of outed Bernie Madoff, right? Because Bernie Madoff was after Reed Slatkin. Reed Slatkin came before Bernie Madoff. And imagine, apparently he was effing with minors' money as well. Now that's a new layer to Reed Slatkin. We didn't know that he was after minors' money as well. That's a new one for me, you guys. I never thought about it. How many rich Scientology kids were being told by their scammy parents to really put their money there? I mean, here Joe helped them out on a couple of business dealings. I mean, how much did you influence that, Joe?
And I was doing an arbitration with Reed Slatkin and Reaiche. You know who Reaiche is?
Oh, arbitration. Look at the Scientologists doing arbitration. Look at the Scientologists doing arbitration, mediation. Wise mediation is what they were doing. Wise mediation. They're not lawyers, but they sell mediations anyways. They don't give an F. They'll sell you whatever in the F they want. They can pull something out of their ass and sell it, and these people are stupid enough to buy whatever the F is put in front of them.
He was my very close friend. He went down the wrong road of criminality that the church allowed him to get away with because he brought so many people to the org.
Reaiche, another one, that criminal. Great friend of this man. But apparently, if the cult wouldn't have let him get away with...
So he got away with it. Okay, unfortunately, he passed away. I feel bad because he wasn't a bad guy, but he was enabled. He could get away with it because
he was a criminal. But you don't feel bad for criminals because you have no spine yourself, sir. Unfortunately, L. Ron Hubbard had his way with you, and unfortunately, you never recovered.
He's going to take him down. Okay, I couldn't take him around the street and bash him. I'd go get arrested. Okay, for smacking him around for doing something wrong. I couldn't do that. And the church said, no big deal. Leave him alone.
Right.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't have bashed them. You couldn't have stopped them from committing criminal acts. You couldn't have gone to the LAPD like a grown-ass man that you are. But, I just didn't want to bash him. You didn't need to bash him. If you were aware of him committing criminal acts, you could have done the grown-up thing. In what world is a grown-up thing never an option for any of these Scientology parents, you guys? Here, right here, you see the examples.
So when you got that covering, Aaron, it's a big difference. Did it enable him to press the envelope? Of course it did. Of course it did.
Was other than the specific types of crimes that he's now going to prison for,
yep.
Was Danny the type of kid or teen or young adult who was just kind of always getting into trouble?
No, not at all. No, I'm telling you, he was a mischievous kid. I was a mischievous kid at school, but I wasn't intentionally a harmful person. To say that Danny was in drugs and so forth, absolutely not. Did he do teenage stuff? Who doesn't, right?
No, wrong. Because again, he's lying here. He's lying through his teeth because he already knows of an incident that happened when Danny was doing the use of a doll film. Because we've told you guys ad nauseum that these people were grooming us with dolls and teddy bears. Well, guess what Danny was the poster child of? Scientology grooming. And guess who he went out 2D with during that film? And you guys already know what out 2D means. And if not, Google it or ask ChatGPT. Out 2D is when they have sex. And guess how old the girl was? And guess where she was sent after Scientology found out that they were having sex and she was a minor. This man knows. This man knows of that. So that's what he's calling teenage stuff. And he's talking about, he was great because he didn't do drugs. Where did we hear that? Oh, yeah, from Danny's besties, Mila and Ashton too, right? Oh, yeah, he never wanted to do drugs. Why did he need to do drugs? He was on the L. Ron Hubbard crack, is what none of you have clocked. Because apparently everyone is extremely Incapable of clocking anything, you guys. But you know what? Look at the truth coming out right here.
Right? But was he like caught up with the law and police? And no, none of that.
No, because he had enablers that were helping him avoid that. I mean, how stupid can you really be, Joe? Oh yeah, he was not with the law. Like when the incident happened in Hemet, Joe, in California, Joe, while he was filming that movie, Joe, what was done about it? Was the police called? Oh no, it wasn't. So according to you, he was a great, wonderful, amazing kid, and yet y'all had already known that he was not okay. And he was doing criminal shit. Criminal stuff that you all allowed to be done inside of your disgusting hotels. There. All of you Scientology parents allowed it because you brought your kids there. And you knew it was going on. And you all acted press when you found out about something. That's so out ethics. That's so horrendous. We are so ethical here. We would never do that. And all of you are pathetic pieces of shit lying through your teeth. But you know what? Everybody knows now.
Yeah.
Good kid. I'm telling you, good kid.
Yeah.
And that's why
Oh, yeah. You go from good kid to, convicted, serial, you know what? That trajectory is just, idyllic childhood a la Rebecca Minkoff to, this. Got it.
his family, his brothers, Jordan, Alana, and Chris, are loyal to him because he was like a big brother to them, but also indirectly like a father figure. And people need to understand it. So
People do not need to understand that. That is so incestuous. That is so disgusting. And again, you guys, when we tell you these people are incestuous as they get, from Carol Masterson being the momager, from Carol Masterson having her literal nose all up in Danny's business, no common sense, no boundaries. That woman was all over her son. I'm your manager. I'm your senior. I'm your mother. I'm your keeper of masturbatory habits.
the question I always had is, where did it go wrong with this guy? Okay, because he's responsible for the condition he's in. Now, had I had the opportunity to fix him, I would have fixed him because that's what I do.
Fix him. That's what the Scientology parents said. Oh, you just need to get fixed. I can fix you. That's the type of narcissistic egomaniac this man is. Fix him. Oh, if I could have fixed him. I mean, literally, that's his language.
Right? But was he like caught up with the law and police? And no, none of that.
Yeah.
Good kid. I'm telling you, good kid.
Yeah.
And that's why his family, his brothers, Jordan, Alana, and Chris, are loyal to him because he was like a big brother to them, but also indirectly like a father figure.
Your brother should not be your father figure. That's disgusting. That's incestuous. That is the wrong boundaries. That is not what a brother should be. A brother is a brother, should not be a father figure.
People need to understand it. So the question I always had is, where did it go wrong with this guy? Okay, because he's responsible for the condition he's in. Now, had I
Responsible for the condition that you are in as a deadbeat Scientology father. So for all of you Scientology parents that now want to go and, let's give you your own words. For all of you that want to complain, oh, but Serge is so hard on us. Shut the F up. You're responsible for the condition that you are all in. You are all responsible for the condition of pretending that kids are adults in small bodies. And you cannot sanitize that no matter how much PR spin you continue to tell yourself, to purport that you were on a mission to save a world, you were on a mission to save a planet, you were on a mission to help a convicted felon clear something.
had the opportunity to fix him, I would have fixed him because that's what I do. That's what I did with my son Jordan in 2003. Remember that date?
That's what he did with his son Jordan. He fix Jordan. Isn't it interesting, you guys? That your stepson convicted of serial that could have been fixed. And if only you could have come in to fix. But then you did that with your son, Jordan. So what was Jordan doing that you fixed so well?
2003, I was asked to intervene to sort my son out because he was getting audited and set checked at Celebrity Center and they were fucking him over.
So underage minor Jordan was at Celebrity Center getting fucked over. His words, you guys. So for all of you that are, Serge, you swear a lot. We were born inside this cult, being sworn at all day, all night, all mornings, all evenings, all lunches, all times, guys. So it comes out, but it's a direct indicator of what these kids are being, how they're being spoken to. So yet again, another reason why people should, start getting a little more press that kids are still there being spoken to like this with the F word.
My ex said, Joe, you're the only one that can fix guys like this. I said, sure, he's my son, I'll fix him. Fixed it, 50 hours of sort out, done.
So he fixed Jordan in 50 hours of sort out. 50 hours with your father in an auditing room. Being asked disgusting, unthinkable things that should not be being discussed between a son and a father. Quite frankly, how disgusting, how nauseating, how incestuous. That this man really sat there asking Jordan.
I was going to do that with Danny. Never got that opportunity because the church got pissed off. Why? Because I bypassed the church and sorted out their product. This is where I
sorted out their product. So kids are not kids. Kids are products. That's how the Scientology adults treat the kids. You're just a product. Go get fixed. Oh, we really should have sent Danny to get fixed. Carol, why didn't you send Danny to this man to fix him? He could have fixed him in 50 hours. That's how these people literally think.
I can't win. They should have said, Joe, you're good. Let's please come and help this guy. Come and help this guy because we're not getting through. You get through. I don't know what you do. Do it.
Oh, you're so special, Joe. You're so great. You're so wonderful. You really get through. What in the literal living hell are you getting through, Joe? The truth. The truth of fixing Jordan, because what? What was Jordan doing, Joe, that you needed to fix, that you fixed in 50 hours? 50 hours, you said it took you to fix Jordan. What the F did you find out? Locked up in a room with Jordan for 50 hours. What in the literal hell were you all discussing there? What?
No way. Showing them up.
So was Jordan getting into his own messes?
The same route as my son and my stepson Danny.
Same route as my stepson Danny.
Sorted out their product. This is where I can't win. They should have said, Joe, you're good. Let's please come and help this guy. Come and help this guy because we're not getting through. You get through. I don't know what you do. Do it. No way. Showing them up.
So was Jordan getting into his own messes?
The same road as my son and my stepson Danny.
Same road as my stepson Danny.
Big time.
Big time. Jordan. The one that grew up at the QI with the cockroaches and the rats and the mold. And the 2 hours a day that Carol Masterson, would get to raise her newborn at the QI.
Now that would have been a bigger story. You understand?
And so,
yeah, we understand that would have been a bigger story. What else has Scientology been hiding for the Masterson family? What else?
Scientology was, they were sex checking him. They were trying, what were they doing? Were they trying to handle him?
And missing everything. And so
missing everything. So this man found out what Jordan was actually doing to other girls that was on the same route and road as his stepson. And Celebrity Center was asking Jordan all those disgusting questions, but they weren't actually getting real answers from Jordan. And all it took is for Joe to come in, for Joe to bypass Celebrity Center, for Joe to go lock himself up with Jordan for 50 hours and get all the juicy details of the withholds that are of the same road as his stepson, Danny Masterson. Got it.
I come along, I come in through the back door, Aaron. That's what I used to do with all the refunds. I said, listen, man, I don't care who's right or wrong, and I don't blame you.
His successful action coming through to the back door.
That you want your money back. I just would like to know the truth. And then once I realized I wasn't making them wrong or pissing on them or making them feel like they're criminal when it's their money, then I wanted to communicate. And once I communicated, I said, Joe, we like you, man. You know what? We don't want to do Scientology. Keep the money. We're fine. We don't want to do it, but we're fine. Wow.
Yeah, way for you to go into a complete different tangent that had nothing to do with what you were discussing about the handling you did for 50 hours with the other kid. But here you go, gloating about how, people loved him and, he really went through the back door, whatever the hell that means.
Right.
Fine. Perfect.
Right.
You see what I mean? So this is because they never got to the truth. They always were blaming the person because he wanted his money back. Well, why did you find out why he wanted his money back? Yeah. So in the case of my stepson, Danny, if he wasn't doing good, why didn't you sit him down and go, listen, Dan, you're on the wrong track here, man. You need to get sorted out. Oh, no, we can't sort you out because you're a celebrity. That doesn't work. No, it's backfired. It's totally backfired on that kid.
Again, another false pitch from this man. Scientology knew what Danny was doing. Scientology doesn't not know what their people are doing. They have handlers that report what their people are doing. They have people that investigate, that snitch, that write it up, that put it there. There is no world in which Scientology doesn't know what Danny was doing. It's starting from the incident that I'm very aware of myself, from the first victim of this man. The one that was sent to Debbie Cook to train as an auditor. The one that was also being used as a doll in a grooming, disgusting film that Scientology used to literally have this girl that was, with Danny. And everybody knew. Everybody knew. Everybody wrote it up. They wrote it up. They interrogated her. They interrogated him. They got it out of her. They got it out of him. They double checked their shit. They checked what she said. They checked what he said. They checked it against each other. They kept them there for hours. And now Danny couldn't leave. They don't give an F about his celebrity stuff. You're getting an ethics handling. You're answering these questions on the meter. What did you do to that girl? When did you do it? How did you do it? How many times? Where were you? Where was she? What did you use? How did you do this part? How did you do that part? That's what Danny was getting. And this man wants to say, oh yeah, no one ever sat him down. That's why. Bullshit. Danny was sat down, but you know what? You effed him as a child, and by that point, too late, too little, too MF late.
Right.
That makes sense, yeah?
Yeah, there's an aspect to all of this that I've been unable to resolve for myself. I just want to chew on it with you a bit.
Sure.
In the world of Scientology, as you know, people are not shy about admitting and acknowledging that everyone does bad things. I mean, it's almost one of the most fundamental principles of Scientology is all of our overts and withholds are the root cause of our shortcomings, and only by confronting those things. And Scientology has a whole thing of you need to raise your confront of evil. Stop pretending like people don't do really evil things. Everybody does evil things. Raise your confront of evil is a very often repeated phrase in Scientology.
Yeah. It's a phrase that goes over everyone's goddamn heads, because the one thing that no one is confronted about Scientology, it's the evil. It's the stuff that they're doing to kids. It's the audits. It's the fact that they knew everything. It's the fact that they were recording it. It's the fact that they were transcribing it. It's the fact that they know what in the F they've done. But they won't confront it. They won't confront the evil of it. They won't confront how harmful it is. They won't confront it. They won't call it out. They won't name it. They won't take accountability. They won't regret it. They won't be ashamed about it. All you see is this pompousness of I was doing this and I could have really fixed Danny and I really did fix Jordan with the 50 hours of whatever in the hell he did with Jordan in the hell he now got CC'd about what things Jordan was doing. And it would be great to find out how Jordan was. And it would be great to find out who was Jordan going out to deal with at the time that Joe says was exactly what Danny was doing. Because guess what? None of those girls have surfaced. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why.
With what happened with Jane Doe 1 and with all the sec checking that Danny got and Jane Doe 1 got and Luke Watson got, Scientology knew, and by extension, every one of Danny's family members knew, that he damn well did what Jane Doe 1 accused him of. Nobody was under any illusion. Scientologists don't walk around with their head in the clouds about this shit. Not someone who's experienced as Carol as having been the DFP of the Flag AO for 2 years. Like, get the hell out of here.
Totally.
She knows what Danny did, but in Scientology, you go, okay, you do your lower conditions, you get off your overs and withholds, whatever. You don't condemn someone for their acts. What I've been having trouble.
And that's the point here, you guys. This idea in Scientology, you don't condemn them for their acts. No. In Scientology, they obstruct justice. Confront evil. Scientology, they obstruct justice. In Scientology, they become complicit. In Scientology, they make it a financial transaction. In Scientology, they were selling Danny Masterson intensives to incriminate himself as to what crimes were just being discussed. And here you have it with Joe, Mr. Cleaner Upper of that stuff that knows exactly how to do it. And you really want to get to the truth and you really want to get to the facts. Well, there you go. In Scientology, they are literally brokering, laundering, self-admitted felonious conduct. That's the part that needs to be confronted by every single last goddamn parent involved. Period. Full stop. At the voice of now.
Coming to terms with is how Carol, knowing that Danny had already done this to one person, knowing that he almost certain the other women weren't making it up, it would be too much of a coincidence. How she could sit there in court every single day listening to the testimony of the horrible things Danny did to these women and sit there with a smile on her face like she was an auditor in session keeping her TRs in.
She was ordered, Aaron. Carol is another sub of Scientology. Carol is another peon of Scientology. Yeah, she's on celebrity lines. She's on CC lines, but she's no captain of a boat. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much. Carol Masterson is a peon under the thumb of the president's office. She has her own handlers. She has her own ethics officer. She has her own case supervisor. She has her own auditor. She's got her own person telling her what she needs to do, what's expected, what the OSA handling is. You better show up there with your smirky little smile. Disassociate AF, pretend that you don't know everything that's being discussed in that place because pretend that you have no shame. These people have no shame. Breaking news for anyone that was confused about that. That's how L. Ron Hubbard left them. Depraved, without shame, without scruples, without self-awareness, without parental instincts. I mean, where's the success story? Because I'm failing to see it.
Not put myself in the headspace. I've tried. I cannot put myself into her perspective on being able to sit there every day and listen to this shit and thinking, you think you're supporting Danny by sitting there? I think it would be supporting Danny by not showing up and forcing, listening to all this shit. How can every member of that family go to court every day and listen to these women who they know are telling the truth, say all these horrible things? I can't understand it.
There is no choice. There is no autonomy. They're all on an ethics handling. They're all on an ethics program. They're all implicated. Nobody's going there because they're not told. Look at Emily Armstrong. She had to be told, go there. We need people there. We need people to show up at the courtroom. We need to pretend that, yes, show up so that it looks absurd. That Carol Masterson, who was CC'd on highly incriminating information about her own goddamn son, celebrity, client, however many things Carol thought to throw in the mix between her and her son, because she has no sense of boundaries. That woman doesn't give an F. That's how disgusting she is.
You know, it's a great point. I tell you, it's a great point. And I think the idea is the love that they have for this kid. I'm telling you, the love they have for this kid, Danny. He could do anything and I still wouldn't see it.
I'm sorry. The love that they have for this kid. This is so incestuous. This is so disgusting. This is so dysfunctional. This is not love that was had for this kid. No one gave an F about him as they were pimping him out as a model. Go here, go there, go to the cadet org, stay with the cockroaches, go up to New York, have no life, have no stability, dump him in the middle of everywhere. I mean, again, these parents coming here, and this one, because it was the stepfather, coming here to again pretend that it should make sense, you guys. But
understand? The loyalty and love is so blind, good or bad, right or wrong.
blind loyalty, good or bad, right or wrong, that's bullshit. That's bull fucking shit. You don't get to call it love. You don't get to call it blind loyalty. You don't get to call it, they're all conspiring. They're all enmeshed. They're all up to their neck and ears in dysfunction, all propped up because you, Joe, and Carol, and the other deadbeat father expose your kids indiscriminately to Scientology, something they could have never consented to. And imagine then he gets convicted for what was it? Oh yeah, not giving an F about consent, getting off on that. In what world are these Scientology parents thinking they had nothing to do with how disgusting, dysfunctional, and horrific all their choices have been?
The fact that you can't confront is the biggest issue here. At the end of the day, the condition is, as Mr. Hubbard would say, you know, the state you find yourself in is the answer, whether you've done right or
Oh, Mr. Hubbard. So you see these complete, disgusting sycophants of that convicted felon still wanting to sniff up L. Ron Hubbard's ass because their fucking nose is so brown, so far up L. Ron Hubbard's ass, they cannot distinguish the smell of shit from the smell of reality. Got it.
wrong. Okay. And that's about that. And that shuts everyone the fuck up. Okay. Because it's like, well, I didn't do anything. Well, let's look at the state you find yourself in, RJ 36. Okay. Well, what is it? Well, I'm fucked up. Okay. Well, I guess you did wrong.
Oh, yeah. L. Ron Hubbard said, IJ 36, Mr. Hubbard. Here's a sycophant. This man was no religious worker. He's a sycophant. What did L. Ron Hubbard say? Oh, yeah, let me really follow his advice.
The story. Just shut the fuck up. Take your medicine, as we say in rugby. You're going to get hit. Get hit. Take it. Get broken arm, but whatever. But take your medicine. The more you deny the truth, the worse it gets.
Yeah, we agree with you. The more you deny the truth, the worse it literally gets. And look how the truth hasn't advanced an inch based on your garbage testimony here on this interview, where you really try to, keep your distance over all this dysfunction. Grab your little 2 seconds of clout as you can purport to be part of the Masterson, but you're not clocking shit. You're not coming clean. You're a paper withholder, paperclip withholder. That's who you are.
Right. So you think them showing up wasn't necessarily an indication that they didn't believe these women. It was just to support him.
Totally.
Yeah. And of course, as we know, Scientologists, even if they know Danny did that, would not support a Scientologist being sent to prison. So they're still hoping he's going to be found not guilty.
Yeah. Scientology, knowing that criminal acts were perpetrated against women, against underage kids, they were always just pressed that, oh, we just don't want anyone to end up in jail, you guys. Jail is the worst. I mean, when you have the technology of the convicted felon where you can, be pitched that this is what they were asked them, you guys. Was there a confusion before you had the evil purpose? to have sex with her without consent. When was the first moment of that confusion? That's all it took for these people. That's all the audits, the technology of the convicted felon. It's all about, oh, were you just confused before you had that evil purpose? Were you confused? Was something confusing in your environment? Oh yeah, I was confused that the table was, upside down. That really confused me, and that really made me have this evil purpose to have sex with her without consent. That's the Scientology audits. Make that make sense for anybody. That's the level of depravity of these people. That's what they're not wanting to tell you. That's the paperclip withhold that we're not going to let slide.
It's going to be a mistrial, and then everything can go back into the Scientology world and stop being tried.
Sweep it under the carpet.
Right.
Okay, but so to answer your original point about the disservice, I'm telling you, of anyone that's handled the out ethics of so many people in Scientology, I'm the only guy that's got a whole array of it, that I've seen it. And I've seen.
So just so you guys know, I mean, imagine he didn't just know about Danny. He didn't just know about Jordan. Like, out of the Scientology people, he knows of a lot of criminal acts, and he was all around with the billionaires. So what type of criminal acts were the billionaires doing, Joe? That would have been a great follow-up question right there.
Seen it on the group side, because groups are not loyal to individual members, but they want the individual members to be loyal to the group until you don't serve their need. Then they say, fuck off, get the fuck out of here. Okay?
Cults. Not groups, Joe. Cults. Regular human people do not have to be as exploitative as the L1 hover drones. Not everyone is like an L1 hover drone, just an FYI.
So in the case of Danny, he was loyal to them because he was a PR figure. Okay? Does that mean he audited people? Does that mean he went into session and made 20 clears or 100 clears? I did all that. But that's the only value to me if you're a Scientologist, quote unquote, is be an auditor and make people clear. If that's the game.
That's the game. Do you guys see this infantile, pathetic adults always talking about their game? The game is to make clears. The game is to audit. The game is this. The game is that. And this man was pressed because you know what? He was a nobody. They got rid of him because he was a nothing. That's why they got rid of him. That's why the Masterson family got rid of him. Because they didn't give an F about someone who audited or did whatever in the hell this man says he was doing. They didn't give an F about that. They want nothing to do with him. But here he is. But I was such a great auditor. But I was so... Who gives an F? Not the Mastersons.
Game, not to be a guy that donates money. That's the elite game. Well, hang on, that's bullshit. So they did not do him any service. And
the elite game. He didn't want to be part of the elite game. You never made anything in your life worthwhile that made you had the level of money required to be playing in the elite game of Scientology, Joe. That was your kids. Your kids became multimillionaires, not you. You were a deadbeat father that had a child inside the Sea Org, that brought 2 underage kids with you into the Sea Org because you really wanted to do that, right?
his mom probably covered for him. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, he didn't want to upset the apple cart. Too fucking bad. We all had to do.
His mom probably covered for him. Did you cover for Jordan? What's the difference, Joe?
We all have to do the bridge. We have to do suffer. We have to do our training. We have to pay all the money. That's okay.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And because that's how it works.
I've seen a lot get made about Danny's lack of bridge progress, but I honestly think it's different for first generation members than it is for second generation members.
Okay.
And I think you sprinkle a little more on top of that when you throw in the fact that he was a celebrity. I mean, Joe, I spent the ages of from 12 to 26 working full-time for Scientology.
Oh, amazing. Yep. I read your stuff, man. Yep.
I'm a pure of completion. I've never done the objectives. I've never done the drug rundown. I've never done the HRD. I've never had an objective session.
Yep.
But I've had a ton of sec checking. I've had FPRD. I've done ProTRs, clay table, KTL, LOC, clay table. I've had a dozen.
Them all. Yep. Now them all. Yep.
A dozen in rundowns. L1Cs, quad roots and overates, all this shit. I don't know.
BRBs, the whole thing.
Up the ass. But you could never have told me I wasn't a dedicated Scientologist or I didn't believe. Right. And one thing, this came up when I was chatting with someone else recently is.
And this is the point, you guys. Kids that grow up in Scientology never chose this for themselves. In what world were you not able to believe that you were made? That's what it's called being someone's son. You have no personality of your own. You are a void. You are an empty blanket. You are a canvas for your parent. And they can choose a lot of different routes for you. That's what parenting is all about. But, nobody was counting on these parents being so depraved, so seduced by a convicted felon that told them to be completely dehumanizing degenerates and call that helping a kid. That's what they're all getting called out for. That's what they're all getting called out for. Their level of extremism, their lack of common sense, their lack of good faith. Just to bring it back to religion, the lack of good fucking faith.
Oftentimes one of the things that precipitates being sent to ethics
Yep.
is if a reg is trying to hard sell you for something and you spit out a bunch of disaffection or enemy lines to them. The reg then reports you to the ethics officer pulls you in, and this is how you sort of end up being pushed up the bridge because the ethics officer and the reg are kind of tag teaming you.
Oh, totally.
But with a
Totally
celebrity,
illegal to do, by the way, but they do it anyway.
but with a celebrity, you're not allowed to reg them like that.
Nope.
So you don't have the reg through these high pressure tactics sort of causing you to spit out these enemy lines, which is the reasons you don't really want to go up the bridge. And then it gets tossed over to the ethics officer who then handles you. So a second gen member like Danny, who like me, might have liked the idea of full OT, but didn't really like the idea of auditing.
Yeah, totally.
And you add on top of that the regs aren't really allowed to reg him.
Nope.
There's no real inertia to push Danny Masterson.
And there's no.
There was, Aaron. The problem with Danny is very simple. Like I said already, when was Danny doing his first film and acting? Use of a doll in session. What happened in that set between him and Robin Alessandrini? You cannot go up a bridge in Scientology when you are a security risk. So Danny didn't go up the bridge because he was a security risk, because Scientology was already perfectly aware he had done stuff with Robin Alessandrini, my student, the one that I saw the PC folder of, the one that sat there for hours and hours and hours and told me in the Coachman building, time, place, form, and event of all kinds of things that she and Danny were doing. She was a minor. So in what world was no one informed? Nobody knew. If they went through the trouble of getting Robin to sign a billion-year contract and then send her over across state lines from California to Debbie Cook in Florida, what? Nobody knew? Nobody knew nothing. Bullshit.
No ethics officer to put his ethics in.
Right.
So hang on, it's like it's a get out of jail card free and monopoly.
And if he does get in a little bit of trouble, it gets dealt with by the president's office, not the ethics officer primarily.
Totally.
Yeah, Aaron, that the president's office, what, you think it's all fun and games at the president's office? Have you ever dealt with Mary Vogeting? Do you know what type of an uptight bitch that woman is and was? You don't have to have an ethics officer to have someone be a complete and utter maniac on your lines. The president's office was no joyride. There was another echelon of handler that, yes, you never dealt with because you were never a celebrity, but to say that, oh yeah, Danny never dealt with an ethics officer, that's why he went completely rogue, bullshit. Bullshit. Celebrities are micromanaged in its own way, sure. But in Scientology, the whole thing is don't miss anyone's withhold. So in what world are people really thinking that, oh, if you're a celebrity, then they're really going to let you? No, they're going to handle things very specific. They're going to tailor-made because everything is going to be a calculation for what can they gain, what can they lose. They're leveraging the celebrity's power, influence, all of these other things come into play. Something they don't have to leverage when you're just a peon at the very bottom of the barrel. Because yes, a child trafficked from Mexico, age 14, they don't give an F about that one. They have nothing to leverage there. They have nothing to worry about. They're just exploiting them as a slave. That's the difference between the slave kids and the celebrity kids.
Yeah. We call it breastfeeding. That's all it is. 24/7.
Disgusting. Oh yeah, we call that breastfeeding.
That's easy.
And so when I
Okay.
hear that these second gen celebrity guys don't go
Yeah.
up the bridge a lot, I go, that sounds normal to me. That doesn't have any reflection on their dedication to Scientology.
Spot on. Spot on.
Yeah.
And I think back then in the 70s and 80s, Scientology was very new. There was no internet. There was no lawsuits. You couldn't find, in Australia, you couldn't find one legal document on Scientology.
Yeah, thank Mike Rinder for that too, by the way. There was no information. And I do think about that for my parents, you guys. I think about that like no one could get the info. But you know what? Then the internet came along. But you know what? Then ChatGPT came along. Then you know what? We're in the year 2025. So where's the excuse? Where's the reckoning? Where's their awakening? Where's their figuring out what in the F they've done is fucked and illegal as fuck? Because that's all we ever get played with. Oh, nobody knows it's illegal. Everybody's following a religion. It's a very religious thing. Well, not what this man said.
Okay. So when the 96 came along with the golden era of tech number, with the new revamp, okay, then people started to go, well, this is a bunch of bullshit, man. I got to do it all over again. I got to do the whole bridge all over again. I got to buy a new meter. I got to put a quantum to it. $600, this $100, 20 grand. Now I'm up for another 50 grand. For doing what? Because we have to fix the system. Well, hang on.
Yeah. And for the 10th billion time, we're pitched adult problems of adult grown men and women that went into the cult, getting very pressed that they had to buy a new meter. Oh, I don't want to buy a new meter. Then let me leave Scientology. I don't want to be here anymore. That is the level of difference and autonomy that a child and a parent have. A child cannot get themselves out of the claws of these gross people. You cannot be an inconvenience to your parents. You cannot be developed trafficked. You cannot be counterintention. You cannot be taking attention off of their bridge or doing Scientology or paying for that shit. And that's made clear from you from day one. Because again, we were tokenized, commoditized, and stripped of agency.
You've got $50,000 just to throw at the bridge at any whim. And so the kids are saying, well, there we go, more in debt. We can't go anywhere. People are doing the bridge. So you know what? I'm just going to go play tic-tac-toe.
And again, adult debts. Oh yeah, cry me a river. I'm really going to sit here and think about all those adults that have a lot of debts because what? You were paying for what you were paying for inside of that hotel. You all know what you were paying for. You know how you liked it. You know how much you liked it. And the more money you spend, the more complicity and more exposure you have. Just an FYI.
And this is that's the flavor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Very rare to find gung-ho guys today.
So in your opinion, was Carol was as did she get up to OT7 like you?
No, she got to OT5. And then I think she ended up doing OT7 later.
Would you say she's about as dedicated of a Scientologist as you've ever met?
Dedicated. I would say that initially, when I first met them, they were, her and Pete. Pete wasn't as, okay? He's kind of like a little bit 50-50 on it, if you know what I'm saying. He's just not as gung-ho, but that's okay. Good guy, supported his family in Scientology, didn't care. But Carol was. But out of the three, I was the gung-ho guy. And so that sort of set a precedent. But Carol was very good. And she loved the technology.
She loved the technology. Carol loved the technology to spy on her children, the technology to have no common sense boundaries between her, the mother, her, the manager, her, the auditor, her, the case supervisor, her, the ethics officer, her, the FSM. How many more roles does this disgusting woman want to have? What a disgusting relationship can a Scientology incestuous mother have with their child, as they're the go-to for everything, apparently. Oh yeah, and Carol loved the technology. Good to know how much she loved it.
Was she a trained auditor? No.
Do you think any of what has gone down here would it have any impact on either Carol's or the other members of the family's dedication or commitment to Scientology?
I think it's going to throw a big curveball. It has to, because now at the end of the day, look at it. I'm going to lose my brother, the kids. I'm going to lose my brother. Or I'm going to lose my son for 20, 30 years, hopefully, whatever it is. That's not a good life to look forward to, but it is what it is.
They all have handlers. They all have their reasons to stay. They're all getting something out of it, you guys. I mean, again, Every single one of these people is being handled. Scientology cannot afford to have Alana have a problem. They cannot afford that now. They cannot afford to have Chris Masterson, that was there throughout all of these shenanigans and parties and things that his brother would do, to have a little problem. And they can definitely not afford to have Jordan have a problem after his dad literally just said that he was handling a lot of things on Jordan that were on the same route as his stepson. So this didn't age well either, because none of them have literally made a shred of ethics change since this happened.
And now the kids are going to go, why am I doing the bridge? For what reason? I lost my dad. I don't know why I lost my dad, because the church told me they got to disconnect from my father because
I don't think they give an F about losing you. So get over yourself already. You called yourself a sperm donor in another episode. So you were a deadbeat father all along.
Is an evil person. So I got to disconnect from him. So I lost my brother. I lost my dad. My mother's not going to live for too long. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I feel Carol's likely to die of a broken heart here. I mean, if you
Oh,
ask
big
me.
time. Listen, Danny was her golden child.
No, Carol is going to die of guilt, of a guilty conscience for the type of disgusting mother she was, for the type of degenerate L. Ron Hubbard sycophant she became, for the type of horrendous adult choices she always made in the full-blown detriment, damaging their kids' lives and not giving an F. That's what she's going to die of. She's going to die of being the most disgusting mother anyone ever had anything to do with, a Scientology one.
No question about it. And Jordan was number 2.
Mm.
So that's why it's tough on her. I feel for her.
Oh yeah, Jordan number 2, and Danny was her first, and Chris, the one that is expected to be gay, he's nobody's favorite. Got it.
As a mother. I do. Not easy, no matter what. So I can understand her position. Whether he's done it or not, she's got to look at the truth versus the love. And you got to separate the two.
How did Scientology get your kids, Jordan and Alana, to disconnect from you? What happened?
But these motherfuckers are just unbelievably evil. They're just evil. You want to talk about evil, then they're evil. They might have something to sell that's spiritual, but their functionality is evil. I'll tell you how they did it.
See, here he is again. They might have something great to sell, spirituality. Like L. Ron Hubbard's garbage is not good. No matter how many times you hear these Scientology parents, even after they left, even after they had their own kids get cut off from them, they cannot put it down. They're obsessed with their L. Ron Hubbard bone.
I won't go into the committee of evidence court martial, which was a bunch of bullshit. It doesn't mean that I was right, that I was perfect, but I was trying to be perfect in an imperfect world. Example, I did something that was the greatest good for the greatest number. So I thought, oh, that's pretty good. But then over here, they said, well, that's not really good because that's not good. But hang on, but you over here you said it was the greatest good, but now it's not. Well, which one is it? How does it benefit? If it benefits you, it's fine. So as you know, when you build up an ethics file, you can build up an ethics file in 3 months. And me being a mischievous kind of person, okay, I had too many statistics of good products, sorting out people. There was a file.
Oh, he was just doing the Lord's work, sorting out people, aka getting Scientology to keep their dirty blood money. Again, there's such pride with what they were doing. That's where you see that there's no ethics change. That's where you see no one's home. That's where they see they never regained their scruples. That's how you see they're not ashamed, embarrassed. You know, if only Scientology would have been nicer to me, then I would have stayed.
Over here that said a lot of opinion reports. You know, the ones with opinions. I think Reaiche is antagonistic because he told me that I need to lose weight or something. Okay, well, you need to lose weight. What's the problem here? The truth's the truth. If 150 pounds overweight, you got upset, shut the fuck up. Lose the weight. No.
Okay, great to know that he was going after overweight people and telling them to shut the F up, because that's how they spoke to people. You're disgusting, you're overweight, you're out ethics, you're a degraded, you're a piece of shit. That's what they sign up to be told at these ethics handlings, you guys. So I know that you want to go and cradle canoodle adults that want to martyrize themselves like that. They love being humiliated. They love being told that they're disgusting, degenerates, good for nothing. They pay for it. So all these people that really want to act surprised, oh, we have no idea that the ethics was like that. Imagine in what world can that claim really be made? The ethics officer can tell you whatever in the F they want. They own you. So If you want to be, don't go so hard on me. Why? Why are you being critical? Why are you pushing back? Why are you not believing in L. Ron Hubbard? We're going to now put more amends on your project. We're going to, get more severe lower conditions assigned to you. We're going to put you in another committee of evidence. They have plenty of tools, those ethics officers, to make your life miserable and completely humiliate you and degrade you and dehumanize you. Because that's where our parents were bringing us to be told to be saved and saving our world and being part of the friendliest place on earth is what Debbie Cook's pitch was exactly, to be precise. Come to Flag, the friendliest place on earth.
I get sent to ethics, right? Why did you do that? Because he asked me about an opinion, so I gave him my opinion. So you want me to tell him that he looks fantastic when he's 150 pounds overweight? I'm not going to violate my integrity. Anyway, so cut a long story short, there's some business deals that went sour, but people think that Joe took all the money and bought a Ferrari and went to the drugs and went to to the Afghanistan and sold hash. No, we were giving it to other Scientologists. They lost the money, but because I set up the deal, I got shot. Okay, fine. I'll take that. No big deal. No victim. So when that ethics file goes up, I went, you know what, this guy, he can't be told what to do. No, I'm just competent with the tech.
Competent with the tech. Because again, you guys, they were playing hotel from a 2-week course, lawyer. Well, according to this policy from L. Ron Hubbard back in the 1965s, let me just find a quote where the convicted felon said this and that, and they would have these pathetic arguments over policies of the convicted felon. That was their dick fights there. Oh, I know L. Ron Hubbard. Oh, I know him better. I know this policy. I know this other one. Like pathetic, infantile idiots.
Just going to be pushed over. You pushed everyone over because you used the tech. I said, yeah, but that policy da-da-da says this, and that policy says this. So what policy are you using against me? You're totally wrong. Remember, you got to know the tech. They don't like people knowing the tech because then they could checkmate them. That becomes a ping pong match. Okay?
So Joe,
it was a ping pong match. It was all this L. Ron Hubbard reference here, that L. Ron Hubbard reference there. Everything could be manipulated. Any reference could be invoked at any time. They were all just playing self-important space cadets wearing fake Navy uniforms, purporting that were part of an army and a Navy and a boat that wasn't floating, because it turns out it was all just a disgusting hotel where everything was taking place.
all these business deals were going sour or whatever you're.
Just a few of them. Just give them a few.
But I mean, like during this period of your life,
Yeah.
Are you still in the States or are you back in Australia?
I'm in the States.
Okay. So once you came to the States, you stayed in the States.
That's it. I love it.
Okay. So
Very
you're
cool.
XSO, but Carol's XSO. Was this still back? Was there already a culture where being XSO made you like sort of a perpetually bad person?
Oh yeah, totally. We were considered the DBs or the degraded beings, and then we had to do the liability formula, and then we had to go to Flag and get our signatures for 400 staff during lunch hours and dinner times. Embarrassing. Fuck, let me tell you.
Yeah, you guys, they would have the York people wait for dinner time when there was like 600 people that had to eat in 30 minutes. Because remember, they all have to save a world. They all come rushing out of the course rooms to get to the 30 minutes of chugging, the rice and beans and the disgusting things that they were serving at their galley, the pathetic food that they were serving at the Scientology things for the staff. And then you have these people that had left the sea or that were outside with like these papers. Please sign my formula. I need signatures, because they have to ask to get back into the group and they have to write down all their amends. And I was a degraded and I was a disgusting person, and they have to write that down about themselves. I was part of the enemies of the group. I was a disgusting person. I didn't want to save our world. Like all of these admissions had to be on their liability formula, because then people could be like, it sounds like your liability is weedy, like you didn't make enough amends, you're not sorry enough, and they could be like disapproved, and then they have to go make more amends, they have to do more shit. That's what he's saying is humiliating. Now granted, again, these are all adult games they're all playing, they all know it, they've all been told, they've all been advised. This is all told to these adults. The problem is that they expose kids to the same disgusting, sickening game.
Ridiculous. So every time you get in a little bit of trouble, they're pulling up your phone. They're like, "Oh, XSO, we
there
know
we
what we're
go,
dealing with. Here we go again."
Yeah, but instead of saying, now hang on a second, Mr. Hubbard says, if a guy's got an ethics file, you gotta look at his production record. Don't look at his ethics file. Let's look at his production record.
Mr. Hubbard said, and this is how they were in love with disgusting, degenerate, died in a trailer effed up out of his mind L. Ron Hubbard. Mr. Hubbard said he really did say this about the person's ethics file. If they've been so productive, then really, then you shouldn't really go after them. And that's how they had this delusion of their little daddy figure. Oh, but Reaiche would never do it like that. Bullshit, you idiots. You're stuck at the hotel because you love L. Ron Hubbard and he's your daddy figure. And you're a grown-ass adult. Damn.
If the production record is 150 to 1 against the ethics file, blow it off. What's the big deal? No, they ignored that. They didn't care about that anymore. They just wanted to go for the guy, no matter what.
So with Carol knowing you as she did, for as long as she did, with you being such a presence in not only your own kids' lives, but your stepkids' lives, how did they get your kids to disconnect from you?
Well, here's what they did. When they did the COMEV, it was in January of 2005.
Committee of Evidence. The fake Committee of Evidence. I mean, you guys, I did my first COMEV when I was like 15 years old. So imagine that. Oh yeah, the 15 years old can do, in Scientology, they don't give an F. They literally don't give an F. Everything is performative. Everything is a joke. Everything is a disgusting, sickening joke at that.
As you know, in the COMEV policies, which I'm very familiar with, you've got 7 days to issue it, turn around and flip it out with the FNRs, findings and recommendation. 7 days. Why? Because if you don't, then it becomes a witch hunt. All right? They didn't do that.
And Joe, this COMEV was for the business stuff?
No, this is just COMEV, just period. Just to sort out the truth from the lies.
Regarding the business stuff?
Anything.
Well, no, a COMEV has to be called for a reason, though.
Oh, just basically reports, basically business or, Scientology contributions or lack of contributions.
The COMEV would be your indictment, you guys. These people would start typing, per reports of this information, Joe was squirreling the technology. He took his son for 50 hours and did squirrel questions and got all the same information that we have on Danny. That was the COMEV. That was the allegations. They will all be printed out. They will all be written out. There'll be page after page after page. They will all be in goldenrod, Laura's favorite color, as everyone knows. Goldenrod paper, and then posted everywhere so that everyone could see it. So everybody knows this shit in Scientology. It's always being aired out. It's always being told to everyone. It's always being printed. If it isn't in writing, it is not true. So it's always printed. It's always written. It's always given to everybody. At the staff meeting, before everyone sits down, they put them on the pieces of paper. Anyone who got COMEV that week, you had to read who got COMEV. You had to read who was in ethics trouble. That was their way of supposedly keeping everyone's ethics in, informing everyone of the criminal acts going on in the entire organization.
It's just a generalized reports that came. And I had to go there to sort them out. So I said, let me go sort them out. No problem. So they'd written the report. They did the hatchet job. It was at 11 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning, outside the Fort Harrison, had to wait. And they had these tabs on the folders already. All right? They didn't do that.
And Joe, this COMEV was for the business stuff?
No, this is just COMEV, just period. Just to sort out the truth from the lies.
Regarding the business stuff?
Anything.
Well, no, a COMEV has to be called for a reason, though.
Oh, just basically reports, basically business. They all found out I was, except I wasn't, which gave them enough time to sort out the kids, sort out the family, get it all set up, and then tell me after the fact. Now, that's very
So they did the COMEV, and they figured out through their evidence that he's a suppressive person. Then they went, Alana Jordan, your father is a disgusting suppressive person. You're not going to talk to him again when he calls you. Okay, great. Bye. They gave themselves 2 days to handle Jordan and Alana so they would never speak to their parent again.
Standard, don't you think?
It is standard, but it also shows that Carol not only turned on you, but cooperated in turning all the kids on you over something no greater than Scientology said you were no longer a good guy. Yeah. Like it wasn't due to anything that you had done to her or the kids or anything. And this is how Scientologists work.
I'll be perfectly honest. And the reason that she snitched on it, when I told her I sorted out my son Jordan back in 2003, I had designed my own program to sort out people with ethics. And what it was, I used a little bit of technology. I used my own data. I got into discipline, training, health, and so forth, and I fixed someone. And I fixed my son Jordan. I got to the root of his integrity issue, because I just want to let everyone know, and the viewers here,
Jordan got to the root of his integrity issue, you guys. He was going down the path of Danny, and this is what got him kicked out of the family. You're not allowed to come up with your own program. Period. He purported that he was coming up with his own program and he was using some of the technology. Squirrel, not allowed, not okay. You're disgusting. You're a degenerate. Get rid of him. He's a psychopath. He's a suppressive. Now it makes sense. Now it makes sense. What is really nauseating is, again, the fact of like, what did he do with Jordan for those 50 hours that he said he was doing stuff with Jordan to really, get him to gain back his integrity? That's what integrity did he lose? Whose virginity was lost? And what were the ages? Because that would be great follow-up question here.
What happens? Scientology can't fool anyone unless you violate your integrity. And once you do that once, it's over. You now go down the slippery slide called manipulation and being moved around like a pawn. And that's what they do. So when I did that to my son and fixed him, I got back his integrity, got back in valence, got back to his real, true personality.
Because again, kids are commodities. These parents were there to fix us. You're broken. You're out of valence. And you see how gleeful he just got with his big wide eyes. Oh, I got him in valence. I got him his integrity back in. I mean, people that complete a 2-week course that force kids onto things they cannot consent to are a clear and present danger to those kids. FYI, CC everybody that is playing dumb as we speak.
Got rid of the dramatization of what he was doing and all the promiscuity.
Got rid of the dramatization of what he was doing. Got rid of the promiscuity. God damn it, you guys. Seriously.
Called manipulation and being moved around like a pawn. And that's what they do. So when I did that to my son and fixed him, I got back his integrity, got back in valence, got back to his real, true personality, got rid of the dramatization of what he was doing and all the promiscuity that he was doing and all the bullshit that they were doing. And said, Dad, you saved my life. I said, no problem, son, I love you. Carol took those documents, my worksheets, and sent them to Flag.
They were doing, who's the they now? Now there's a they. So who else was involved in what Jordan was doing? Who else was involved? Who else was implicated? Who's the royal we?
And said that I was squirreling the tech.
That's what I was going to ask you.
And that came up in the comment.
Oh my God.
Scientology. And I went, what a fucking, the next word starts with B. I said, wow, there you go.
So she was already saying that you had
no, she wanted no, she was going to have that.
Well, that answers the question I was going to ask you. I was going to say, Joe, do you have any idea who you pissed off? Because you pissed someone off.
Oh, it was her.
You pissed off Carol.
Oh, yeah, totally. And when you piss off Carol, she just take you out.
Wow.
You can ask Jane Doe.
You missed Carol's withhold. How stupid are you? Did you guys just see what we found here? So let me get this straight. Danny, that Carol is perfectly aware of what's going on with him. Given that that's what you said, her full-blown love, her first was her and then Jordan. So Danny, that Carol is already aware that's going on with him. Then has Jordan going down that same path, but you grab him, you sec check him, you grab him for 50 hours, you write it all down on your worksheets what those criminal acts were. You put it all together in a package, you send it to Carol, and she goes, oh, you're about to find out about something else. I need to get rid of you. You're now too much of a danger because now you know. Now you know, Joe. Now you know what your own son was doing. So imagine that you weren't transparent about anything in this interview, that you were just trying to chase clout with your Danny Masterson thing.
Doe 3, she'll tell you about her.
Yeah.
I know Jane Doe 3 very well. I did an ethics cycle on Jane Doe 3. See, I know all the stuff there, so they're going to be very careful with me.
Oh, and you should be proud. You should be disgusted. You should be disgusted that you were doing any of that bullshit, but you're not disgusted. You're proud. And we know this man is dead, you guys, but literally, Exhibit A of a Scientology parent for anybody that doesn't understand why we're writing hard on these parents, why we're telling them how effed they really are. Why we need to contextualize it, because, this interview came out so long ago, and, nobody knows about this man. Nobody knows that this man already admitted that Jordan was doing the same things as his stepson. That's what he said. Perversions. That's what he was handling. That's what he was fixing. This man said that he could have fixed Danny.
Because what, are you going to hurt me?
But they haven't been careful with you.
Well, what are they going to do? You're going to intimidate me? I play rugby, man. You're going to hurt me? I was in a war. I'm going to die. I'm prepared to die. I got nothing to lose. I'm the dog that's been kicked. Yeah. Now the dog's coming back. He's no longer the dog. He's the lion. Okay.
So it shows you a lot about it.
You're a maggot. You're not a lion. You're a literal maggot, squirming, trying to purport that you're coming here to really blow a whistle on nothing. Take responsibility for nothing. Point a finger at everyone else. So you never made an inch of ethics change, Joe. So yeah, actually agree with your suppressive person, Claire.
It tells you a lot about Carol.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Once she decided you needed to be gone, she got you gone.
Oh yeah. And then when she needed my help,
tells you a lot about Carol. Once she found out that someone else found out what her other son was in a criminal trial for, she was, what do you call it? Oh, crisis management 101. Get rid of the ones that know. Get rid of the ones we cannot control. Get rid of the wild cards. To just mitigate the crisis.
For the children, I was the best person in the world because no one could fix the kids. See, it was use me until I need me and then piss on me when I don't. And I'm not saying that she's an evil person. She's going to deal with her actions, good or bad, right now. Okay? I wouldn't want to be in her shoes, no matter how much money you gave me and no matter how much celebrityism I've got.
You're only trying to chase clout by coming forward, Joe, because you are chasing it.
I don't want that tag on my footstep. Not with my family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's all out the window now.
Yeah.
Your family includes 2 kids you left behind in a cult because you didn't give enough about them. Not enough to fight. Because to quote you, sperm donor is what you were. Which, you know what? Yeah, that sounds about right.
After you got declared, did you ever have any contact with Carol or any of the kids again?
Yep. Phone calls, Christmas cards, gifts, nothing. Sent them out, no return, nothing.
18 years.
Now, again, you guys, fun fact, Jordan was coming to the Fort Harrison right around this time when all of this happened with his dad. And these kids were shook. We always knew because it was the nightmare that we would talk about. Like your nightmare was that your father or your mother would get declared and you didn't know why, or you couldn't have done anything, or you were just told to disconnect or whatever. So we always knew of the ones that got disconnected like this. For example, Alex Prager, another one of these, Scientology celebrities that did fine art, that does photography. She's a famous photographer, collected, whatever. And she was disconnected from her mother because her mother also got declared. And you would see these kids struggle. We would all talk about it. They would be crying. They would be wailing. They would be breaking down. And everybody would be talking about it. Oh, did you hear about Alex Prager? She's crying because she can't see her mom. Oh, yeah. It's so hard that her mom is so suppressive. She's so disgusting. She's so suppressive. That's what the kids would say. Oh, yeah. Did you hear about Alana and Jordan's dad? Oh, yeah. He's such a disgusting suppressive. Oh, yeah. But Alana keeps crying because she doesn't have a dad. Oh, yeah. But you know what? She's just going to get over it. She's going to do the PTSD course and do a PTS interview. And then she's going to realize that he's nothing but an SP. This is called parental alienation. And I believe it's highly illegal too. But I don't know. Maybe it's not.
10 years.
18, 19 years.
Yep. Anyway, I know my daughter's alive as I see it on Google. I get a Google of Alana or Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm proud of them. I think Carol did a great job in managing them.
Yeah.
But that's a job responsibility.
Proud. In what world are you proud? Your entire family is a complete and utter disaster. The dysfunctional levels are off the chart. But this guy wants to come and suck Carol's you know what still. Oh yeah, Carol, great job at managing. They only give an F about money. They only give an F about fame. Exhibit A.
And for those of you watching who may not know, Jordan Masterson is in Last Man was in Last Man
Last Man
Standing,
Standing, Tim Allen.
and Alana Masterson most recently has been in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, six seasons.
Yeah, Chris Masterson was in Malcolm in the Middle, and Danny Masterson, everyone probably
Yeah,
knows.
the most famous family in the world is the Masterson family with celebrityism. You got 4 kids with 4 series.
The most famous celebrity family in the world, you guys. You heard it here. By a deadbeat Scientology father.
Yeah.
The next that come after that are Baldwin brothers and the Hemsworth brothers. That's it. So we're ahead of the game here. We just got knocked back down. We just got a TKO here, okay, from the clan. All right,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
So she did some great work as a mom, as a manager, but did a terrible disservice.
She did a great job as a mom, as a manager. Carol, you did the most disgusting job. You are so disgusting to have been told everything your sons were doing, and you never set boundaries, and you never did the right thing, and you never looked after them. You were protecting your coin because you were exploiting your kids. Disgusting.
To him, bridge-wise, and she should have come down on him tough.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself an?
She should have come down on him tough. Come down on him tough about what, Joe? Oh, the fact that he was committing illegal acts and she was fully in the know. She only needed to have gone to the police. She only needed to have done actual grown-up shit. But here you go. Another admission from a Scientology parent that they could fix you. They could come down hard on you. They could tell you you're disgusting, degraded, and whatever, even though they were setting their kids up for failure, mind you, as we've already seen in this interview from the very beginning. How did these kids get raised? By neglect, by abuse, by control, by exploitation, by literally taking them to, auditions since they were like 4 and 5 to really be models for Ford. Great setup. Great mother. Mother of the year. Should really go to Carol Masterson, I think, after this.
Independent Scientologist?
No.
Okay. So you don't mess with that.
Too much of Reaiche. And that's it. You're independent? Perfect. You're a terrorist? Perfect. You're a Lebanese?
No,
perfect.
but I mean, do you still do Scientology outside of Scientology?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm focused now on business. I'm focused on staying healthy, and I help a lot of people. I do my programs to help people to get back to some normalcy, sort out their life, because I'm a pay it forward kind of guy.
So there he is. He cannot help himself. He's still at it, sinking his claws on people selling his bullshit. All the way to the end. This man was believing his own bullshit, pay it forward kind of guy. Yeah, right.
You need some help, I'm going to help you. Why not?
Yeah.
It's what I business, I'll sort you out. I'll do this, no problem.
Yeah.
I don't have any, back off, and, I'm good with it all,
So now that Danny Masterson's going to prison, do you think Scientology will declare him a suppressive person and expel him?
Absolutely not.
I agree.
They're going to cover their ass. Because as I said before, you don't want 5 Leah Reminies, because that family will turn.
Yes.
They will turn. Look, Carol can be ruthless. It can go both ways.
Carol can be ruthless, you guys. Give it up to the Scientology mothers that are so proud to be ruthless. Isn't it great that Carol is a ruthless mother and they don't really want her to be going against Scientology because they don't want her to turn into a Leah Remini? Please.
Mm-hmm. She can be ruthless against you, and she'll be ruthless against your enemy. Don't want to be your enemy. She don't care. And that's fine. But pick your enemies.
She don't care. Carol Masterson don't care.
So that's the right ones, not the wrong ones.
That's pretty much been my take on it as well. Like, Danny is already the lowest of the low right now. If I'm Scientology, if I'm a Miscavige, I'm going. It could still get worse though. You could still have all these guys going after Scientology.
Oh yeah. Listen, whatever happened to them?
The entire family has been safe pointed. Scientology needs them and they need Scientology. They're 2 peas in a pod. 2 peas in a pod, these 2 things. They need each other. They're way, 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 way up to their neck and ears in the blood of complicity.
That's totally fine with me. Okay? they've got their shortcomings coming to them. Okay, because their hands are not clean. Period. Danny's hands are not clean. He's now paying that price. Good or bad, right or wrong. Okay.
Good or bad, right or wrong, Danny's hands were not clean since the first time he was found to be doing these crimes. Since that part.
But to hide behind the truth and lie and piss on people because you think you can get away with it, no, that's not going to work, because life catches up with you. Whatever you want to call it, karma, whatever, it's going to catch up to you. Okay, because you can't get away with it. If that was the case, then being criminal would be the greatest thing to do, because you can get away with literally anything. That wouldn't be right.
Oh, so apparently just because karma could catch up to you, because otherwise criminal would be the most amazing job, you guys. So breaking news, if it wasn't for darn karma, then criminal would be the best job in the world. Got it.
That would just invalidate everything about life.
Right. There has to be one little seed germinating in the minds of the other members of the Masterson family, which is,
Absolutely.
I think that seed has to be, and I don't know if I'm giving them too much credit, but I think that seed is there, of Scientology didn't fix Danny.
Nope.
And he went.
Scientology doesn't fix shit. Scientology created Danny. Scientology offered Danny's parents jobs to save a world while Danny was left to rot at the Quality Inn with cockroaches, rats, fungi, mold. Scientology doesn't fix kids that it abuses. Breaking news.
And did this to many women in different states, in different countries, Scientologists, non-Scientologists. Scientology didn't fix him, and look where it got him.
Scientology made him. In what world is the person that is making the monsters going to be able to stop the making of the monsters? They are creating the monsters. They are destroying the childhoods. They are putting themselves in a position to mold these kids into the weapons they become. Self-destructive AF. Because this deadbeat Scientology degenerate parents had no boundaries and no common sense and no parental instincts when it comes to kids, since they're all out there pretending that they are just miniature adults, because convicted felon L. Ron Hubbard said that.
Has to be sitting there in their minds.
Well, how about I add to that? How about that if let others, other like a Danny, get away with whatever? How many of those have they got away with?
Yeah, how many Dannys? You guys don't even want to know that fact. Never mind that there's only been one conviction. Danny's not but the tip of the iceberg. What, you guys think that, oh, just Danny was doing it? Danny was the only out to deer in Scientology? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know how many Italian men would come over the summer and ravage? They knew. They're like, oh, the Italians are coming in August. They would get into all manner of out-to-dees, all manner of hooking up with people after the graduation, all manner of incest going on with all these people, doing stuff with others, being all in close quarters, everybody finding out everything about everything that everyone is doing. That's what's so disgusting and sickening beyond.
I've gotten people who've written me stories and said, Joe, I want to thank you. I said, for what? I said, because it's now brought the attention that when I was in the CO, I got molested, I got raped, I got whatever. I'm like, oh man, this has been going on for 30, 40, 50 fucking years.
And don't act surprised, Joe, since you were one of those auditors that was all about discovering this and getting the refund done.
And they knew about it and they didn't address it. So it's repeating itself.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why it's repeating themselves. But watch him here act all surprised and, oh yeah, it's because they knew about it. You knew about it every single time you audited that out of an adult. You knew about it, Joe. Every time you got told that Danny did this, you knew about it, Joe. Every time you were told that Jordan was doing shit, Joe, and then you went and intervened so you could really fix him.
That to me is evil, Aaron. This is the evil of that. Okay? Period. And the hierarchy's got to take responsibility for it.
Right.
They're the captain of the football ship. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to keep continuing. But
All
now
right. There's a handful of questions here for you.
Sure.
Lori,
All right, guys, that's it. The questions we don't care about, but the facts is what remains the most important part of our mission. Why it matters that all of these Scientology parents get put in their place, get told who they are, get told what they're doing. They stop being cradled and canoodled and treated as if they were infantile kids themselves. Scientology adults are adults. Breaking news for everybody. The fact that they want to infantilize themselves because they want to have a daddy figure in their L. Ron Hubbard, they can go fix that shit for themselves. We don't have to sustain that level of delusion for them anymore, given the fact that the more that delusion is propped up, the more these people are treated with kitty gloves because, oh, won't you just come out of your cult? The people that are not coming out of the cult is because they're getting something out of the cult. The adults. It sucks. It sucks that that's how adulting goes. They're there. I mean, some of them are stuck. Some of them are, in unthinkable positions. But then again, those same people are there witnessing all the kids get abused. And where is that testimony? If they cannot get themselves saved, they could be saving the kids. They could be calling this out. They could be grabbing the PC folders and taking it to the FBI. They could be grabbing the videos and taking it to the LAPD. They could be doing things to stop the problem, but they don't even want to acknowledge that there is a problem. And there is a problem because there should be no more kids in Scientology because they cannot consent. So thank you all that are watching these videos. I know they're long. We have to get into the weeds. We have to get into the nitty gritty. We have to explain it. We have to corroborate. We have to bring receipts so that people can stop saying, oh yeah, they're alleging a lot and no one's corroborating. You all heard it out of a Scientology's father's mouth. They knew. They went in to fix it. They pretended they were the ones that could fix things. The stepfather was pressed because, why didn't Carol send him Danny to really fix? And that is the state of affairs with these kids that end up with Scientology parents that, it's not good. It's not good for any kids what they are up against. So thank you to all of you who are listening to these hard truths, getting into the nitty gritty. Take your notes, keep investigating, keep liking, keep subscribing, and keep helping us amplify the voice of the kids that are stuck at the hotels with no autonomy, no agency, and no parent. Because that's the problem that Scientology kids have. When your own parents can be your biggest abusers, that kid is in a lot of trouble. And we've already said it way too many times. And the era to stop playing dumb is this year. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all that watched this all the way to the end, the 3 hours. I really appreciate it. And I hope this helps. Good night. Bye-bye.